he touched him, he heard Zhou Tianju's loud shout. That's enough. Hu Yindi had never been yelled at like this by her son before. She was so frightened that she froze in place. It took her a long while to react. You scolded me? Hu Yindi asked in disbelief. How could he scold himself? She is his mother. Zhou Tianju pursed his lips tightly and looked very ugly. Let's forget about the past. Don't touch her again. He was not so confused as to really think that Huang Fengying had deliberately provoked his mother so that she would knock out the baby in her belly. It is a fact that his mother knocked his son away, and he himself is also an accomplice. If he hadn't listened to his mother and hadn't argued with her for so long, there would still be a hope of saving his son. But it's too late to say anything now. The unvented anger in his heart made him stand on Huang Fengying's side for the first time and yell at his own mother. When Hu Yindi saw her son's resentful anger, her head buzzed and she staggered involuntarily. He actually hates himself? How could he hate himself? She is his mother. Huang Fengying, lying on the bed, heard Zhou Tianju speaking for her for the first time. But she did not show any joy at all. Instead, a hint of mockery flashed to her eyes. Zhou Tianju glanced at the heartbroken Hu Yindi and then at Huang Fengying, who was still as stiff as a log. He sighed and said weakly, Mom, I have to go back to the army later. I'll leave Fengying to you to take care of her. Having said that, he walked out with big strides, regardless of what Hu Yindi said or thought. Hu Yindi originally resented Huang Fengying for not saving her grandson, and now her son scolded her for this. How could she take care of Huang Fengying? Her poisonous gaze fell on Huang Fengying, and she said coldly, You can't even save your grandson, and you still want to lie here and enjoy yourself? What the Hades are you dreaming of? Hurry up and get up and cook. There was a hint of sarcasm in Huang Fengying's eyes. Look, this is how Zhou Tianju cares for himself. Even though she knew that Hu Yindi was so cruel to her daughter-in-law who was about to give birth, she still gave herself to her. Half lowering her eyes, she spoke coldly. I don't. He didn't expect that she dared to talk back to him, even though she had given birth to a stillborn baby. Hu Yindi, who was already full of anger, immediately exploded. She raised her hand and was about to hit her hard. But before he could hit the person, he heard a loud shout from behind. Stop! The next moment, several military wives rushed in from the door. Wang Chunling grabbed Hu Yindi, while Ji Hualan opened her arms to block the bed. Hu Yindi, not only did you hit your daughter-in-law who was about to give birth, causing her fetus to die, but now you dare to beat a woman who just did surgery? Do you think no one here can control you? Lin Wanshu scolded coldly. Hu Yindi didn't expect that these military wives would come again and meddle in her business and stop her from teaching her daughter-in-law a lesson. She immediately felt very upset. In their hometown, they can beat their daughter-in-law if they want, and even if they beat her to death, it is their own family business. But she didn't dare say this now. After all, their threats from the day before were still ringing in her ears. Hu Yindi didn't dare to joke about her son's future. Who beat her? Even though she was caught on the spot, Hu Yindi still stiffened her neck and refused to admit it. As long as she denies it, they can forget about going to the army to sue her son. We have eyes and can see what you were doing just now. Comrade Fengying is a military wife. You can't hit her just because you want to. If you really want to investigate what happened the day before yesterday, your son will be in big trouble. Lin Wanshu's words were just to scare Hu Yindi. If the people don't report it, the officials won't investigate. As long as Huang Fengying doesn't make a fuss, no one can do anything to Zhou Tianju. At most, his superiors felt bad and verbally warned him to do a good job in the rear. But Hu Yindi was an uneducated and uninformed person, and she immediately became timid after being frightened by Lin Wanshu. How dare I argue with them? It has nothing to do with my son. She was the one who pinched me first, and then I hit her. You can't harm my son. Although Hu Yindi didn't do anything good in her daily life, she was really good to her son. Hearing that her son was going to be in trouble, she became anxious. Humph. If you want us to let it go, that's fine. Go make her some egg soup to nourish her body. Huang Fengying had been suffering from long-term malnutrition, and now she had just undergone a cesarean section, which had seriously damaged her vitality. If you don't make good use of the confinement period this time, you will definitely develop chronic illness in the future. Hu Yindi hated Huang Fengying so much that she couldn't save her grandson, so how could she bear to feed her eggs? After all, a few eggs were not as important as her son's future. Even though she was reluctant, Hu Yindi still agreed. We'll wait here. If you don't bring the egg soup in 30 minutes, don't blame us for being rude. Fearing that she might play tricks, Wang Chunling gave her another warning. Hu Yindi hated these people, but she had to accept it reluctantly. You are still in confinement. You can't cry. It will hurt your eyes. Lin Wanshu was close by and noticed that she was crying, so she hurried to persuade her. But it would have been better if she didn't persuade her. The more she persuaded, the redder Huang Fengying's eyes became. She didn't expect that the people who protected her in the end were the very people she always thought looked down on her. But the man she wanted to marry so much ended up hurting her the most. Am I a joke? She originally thought that Zhou Tianju was a simple and honest man who would definitely love her, but it turned out that all her troubles were caused by him. No one was grateful to her, and Hu Yindi was even more proud that her son was capable and married a city girl. Lin Wanshu looked at the embarrassed and pitiful person in front of her and couldn't help but sigh in her heart. You just married the wrong person. There's no need to deny yourself. I heard that you got that job through your own exams. You're already better than many people. Being able to get a job on your own these days can be considered an outstanding achievement. After all, the country's industry is underdeveloped and jobs are too scarce. Dozens or hundreds of people competing for one job is considered a small number. Sometimes there are even hundreds or thousands of people competing for one job. Hearing her gentle affirmation, an indescribable grievance instantly surged into her heart, and Huang Fengying burst into tears. Over the years, she lived every day with the guilt of not giving birth to a son, as if she had no value other than giving birth. But now, someone told her in no uncertain terms that she just married the wrong person and that she was better than many people. Huang Fengying couldn't stop crying when her human value was affirmed. She is not a reproductive machine. She is a human being. She can get a job on her own. She is capable. Lin Wanshu knew that she was upset and did not try to persuade her. Just stay by her side quietly. The crying sound, which seemed to be full of grievances but had no place to vent, made the other people feel very uncomfortable when they heard it. Especially Wang Chunling. She used to be best friends with Huang Fengying. She knew how glamorous she had been. But now she has become mud that is trampled on by anyone. How can she not feel uncomfortable seeing such a contrast? After Huang Fengying vented for a while, Lin Wanshu advised again, you have to take care of yourself and stop crying. There is nothing you can't overcome. As long as you don't care, no one can hurt you. As long as you don't care, no one can hurt you. Huang Fengying chewed over these words carefully, and her broken heart seemed to be slowly being repaired by an unknown force. After a long time, she seemed to have figured something out, and her originally cowardly and lifeless eyes became more determined. Thank you, Comrade Wanshu. She raised her head and thanked Lin Wanshu solemnly. Huang Fengying was thanking her not only for her words, but also for her help. Moreover, her independent image allows her to see another possibility as a woman. When she was discharged from the hospital today, she overheard the little soldier say that Lin Wanshu actually knew medical skills. And it was she who cured Qin Yan's leg. No wonder she is still so confident even after giving birth to a daughter. If she had not given up her job, would Hu Yindi still dare to treat her like that? The other military wives were relieved to see that she seemed to have cheered up. Especially Wang Chunling, her eyes had turned red at some point. Fengying, we're all from the same family compound. If you have any problems in the future, don't keep them to yourself. You can tell us. Even if we can't help you, we can still give you some advice. That's right, Fengying. Regardless of anything else, I still have some strength. If your mother-in-law dares to hit you again in the future, just yell, and I will definitely come to help you. Ji Hualan pointed at her arms and said half-jokingly. Even Yu Fangfang's look at Huang Fengying showed less contempt. I'm following Wanwan. If she wants to help you, I'll lend her a hand. He looked like a mindless follower. Hearing those friendly words of concern, Huang Fengying felt ashamed again. How much of a nitpicker did she have to be in the past to feel that everyone in the world was looking down on her? Blinking her eyes that were once again filled with heat, she said with a choked voice, "Thank you." Thank them for giving her the courage to stand up again from the mud. Her attitude made them feel very happy, and they felt that the trip was not in vain. 10 minutes later, Huindi came back just in time. She was holding a bowl of egg soup in her hand.
Give.
With a sullen face, she reluctantly put the egg soup on the table and turned to leave.
Wait.
Lin Wanshu's eyes fell on the bowl of egg soup that looked a little off in color, and she spoke in a calm voice. But after she said this, Huindi not only did not stop, but instead quickened her pace. Wang Chunling knew something was wrong when she saw her like this, so she raised her foot and blocked her way. What do you want to do? I've already cooked the egg soup, don't go too far. Huindi glared at several people with an angry look on her face, but it was clear that she was just bluffing. Lin Wanshu didn't waste any words and directly picked up the egg soup and walked up to her. Take a sip first. Unexpectedly, when Huindi heard this, she stepped back immediately. I don't drink, and I don't want to be in confinement. This is just fooling ghosts, no one will believe it. Although eggs are not a rare commodity, they are a precious nutritional supplement in this day and age. Who would not even want to have a taste of them? Lin Wanshu raised a mocking smile at the corner of her lips, paused, and then continued. It's okay if you don't want to drink it. When Captain Zhou comes back, I'll let him have a taste. As soon as these words fell, Huindi's expression suddenly changed. No, he can't drink. Looking at her reaction, the military wives must be aware of this. There must be something wrong with this egg soup. It's really strange. You refused to taste a bowl of egg soup, and you didn't let your son taste it either, but you gave it to Fengying? As Lin Wanshu spoke, she slowly scooped the egg soup with a spoon. I forgot to tell you that I know a little bit about medicine. It's okay if you don't want to drink it. I'll send you to the infirmary for a checkup. The regular collision of the spoon and the bowl made people feel a little cold for no reason in this quiet room. As soon as the words, neither light nor heavy, fell, beads of sweat appeared on Huindi's forehead. I made a mistake. This egg soup is not for her. I'll get another bowl. As she spoke, she reached out to grab the bowl. But Lin Wanshu was prepared and dodged by turning her body to the side. I'll keep this egg soup for now. Bring her the one she cooked. If you bring the wrong one, you can drink this bowl. Huindi looked at the egg soup in her hand and felt like crying but had no tears. She felt like she had something stuck in her throat when she thought that she actually knew medical skills. But there were 3 other military wives in the room, and she had no way of getting the egg soup back. Finally, she gritted her teeth and reluctantly went out again. After Huindi left, Yu Fangfang asked in surprise, Wanwan, is there anything wrong with this egg soup? Lin Wanshu scooped a spoonful of egg soup with a spoon, put it in front of her nose, and smelled it. After confirming that it was what she thought, she said, senna leaves are put in it. Hearing this, the faces of several military wives all looked unhappy. Although eating senna leaves will not cause severe diarrhea. But Huang Fengying had just had a cesarean section 2 days ago. If she really wanted to eat this thing, even if she had to go to the toilet 2 more times, it would be extremely painful for her. After all, it is difficult for her to get up now, and she has to go to the toilet all the time. Even if there is no heavy bleeding, there will be tearing. This old man is so cruel, he even dared to drug her. Wanwan, why did you let her go just now? Yu Fangfang was so angry that she started cursing. The evidence is all here. If it were her, she would definitely send this man to the police station. Wang Chunling and Ji Hualan both looked indignant. They never thought that people could be so bad. No matter what, Huang Fengying has worked so hard for this family. It would be bad enough if she didn't think well of her, but she actually used such vicious means. Huang Fengying was lying on the bed, her hands clenched into fists at some point. Her eyes were fixed on the bowl of soup in Lin Wanshu's hand. The last trace of weakness in her eyes completely disappeared, replaced by endless coldness. Lin Wanshu saw her expression and paused before speaking. After all, this egg soup is for Comrade Feng Ying. She has the final say on how to deal with it. It is not appropriate for outsiders to interfere in the affairs between husband and wife. If she exposes the egg soup incident today, it will affect Zhou Tianju's career. What if Huang Fengying regrets it and blames her? Huang Fengying can only decide this matter herself. If she wanted to investigate, she could send the patient to the infirmary for testing. If she didn't want to investigate, the egg soup in her hands was also a handle on Hu Yindi. Whether she can make use of the egg soup depends on herself. If you can't stand on your own, no matter how much help others give you, it will be useless. Yu Fengfeng seemed to understand, but she always obeyed Lin Wanshu's words even if she didn't understand. After all, she is so much better than her, so she has no reason not to listen to her. Ji Hualan was much more insightful than Yu Fengfeng. After a little thought, she understood why Lin Wanshu did this, and she couldn't help but marvel at it again. Qin Yan himself is very capable, and now he has married such a powerful wife. I dare not imagine how high he can go in the future. Although her man did not elaborate, the fact that Lin Wanshu cured Qin Yan's leg had already caused a stir among the higher-ups. Maybe one day you will get the commendation. Wang Chunling was also shocked by Lin Wanshu's move. Although she had vaguely heard that it was she who cured Qin Yan's leg, she was a little skeptical because she hadn't seen it with her own eyes. After all, there were rumors that Qin Yan's leg almost had to be amputated and even the doctors couldn't save it. Could she be more powerful than the doctors? But all my doubts disappeared completely after I saw with my own eyes that she could tell that there was something wrong with the egg soup with just one glance, and knew what had been added just by smelling it. If this isn't considered a skill, she doesn't know what is. Huang Fengying was just cowardly before, and she always felt guilty, so she was controlled by Hu Yindi. But this does not mean that she is a fool and cannot understand the implication of Lin Wanshu's words. She stared at the egg soup for a long time, paused, and then said, "Comrade Wanshu, thank you for helping me again. I know what to do. Others don't owe her anything, so there is no reason for them to stand up for her in everything. If she couldn't fight back personally, how could she be worthy of her kindness? It is better to rely on yourself than to rely on others." Not long after, Hu Yindi came back again, and this time the egg soup she brought was fine. After it cooled down a little, Lin Wanshu carefully helped Huang Fengying sit up, while Wang Chunling fed her egg soup mouthful by mouthful. The warm egg soup flowed down her throat into her stomach, and Huang Fengying felt her whole body surrounded by warmth. She had never experienced being cared for like this before. Her heart felt sour and swollen, and the feeling was indescribable. Suddenly, 3 little heads poked out timidly from the door, cautiously looking at the busy adults in the room. Arya had a high fever that day, but after taking medicine, she is almost recovered now. She didn't remember what happened when she had a fever, but she heard from her sister that when she fell to the ground, her mother cried. She actually cried for herself. This made Arya, who had never dared to ask for maternal love, desire it for the first time. She longed to see her mother smile at her when she was awake. Just a smile, and she was content. Huang Fengying saw the 3 timid little heads at the door from the corner of her eye, and suddenly, her heart ached. Blinking her sore eyes, she carefully raised her hand and waved at them. "Come over." But after hearing this, the 3 little ones subconsciously shrank back, with a look of panic and helplessness on their faces. It was as if they didn't understand why she called them over. Seeing her daughters who were pale, thin, and terrified, Huang Fengying felt as if something was gnawing at her heart, and the pain was unbearable. That's her flesh and blood. But they are so afraid of themselves. What did she do in the past? Unable to hold back, her eyes turned red again, and Huang Fengying waved to a few people again.
"Come to mommy."
She tried to soften her voice. This time, the fear on the faces of the 3 little ones was less, but there was a hint of confusion and puzzlement in their eyes. In the end, Arya couldn't resist the desire in her heart, and she took a step forward. Her mother is calling her. Will she smile at her this time? No, it doesn't matter if she doesn't laugh. As long as she doesn't scold her, she will be very happy. With this thought in mind, Arya took another nervous step forward. When Daya saw that Arya had gone over, she hesitated for a moment and then followed her. Sanya was confused and just followed her elder sister. When her two elder sisters went into the house, she followed timidly behind them. Wang Chunling had stopped feeding the children soup a long time ago. At this moment, she stood up and looked at the thin children with complicated eyes. Although she didn't know what Huang Foming was going to do, she still hoped that she could give a little care to the children. A child without a mother's love is worse than a grass. With a complex mixture of anxiety, hesitation, and desire, Arya finally walked to the bed step by step. However, she did not dare to call out for her mother, but just stood there straight. The hint of desire hidden in her numb eyes was heartbreaking. As if she couldn't bear it any longer, Huang Foming reached out and hugged her in her arms. "I'm sorry, my daughter. It was always my fault." The sudden hug made Arya's mind go blank. She suspected that she might be dreaming. Otherwise, why would her mother hug her? Didn't Mom always dislike them for being girls? She knows it all. Daya was also shocked. Looking at Huang Foming holding Arya in front of her, she couldn't come back to her senses for a long time. Sanya was probably still young and didn't understand what was happening. But this does not affect her frank envy. With her fingers in her mouth and on them, she looked at Huang Foming in front of her, her eyes full of desire. Huang Foming saw this and gently encouraged Daya and Sanya. "Come here, let mommy hug you." The gentle tone that she hadn't heard for a long time made Daya burst into tears instantly. Mother. This is the mother in her memory. The mother who would tell her stories, carry her on her back, and hug her. Daya stumbled forward and reached out to hug Huang Foming as if she were hugging a lost treasure. Huang Foming poured the most affection into her first child, which has a different meaning. Listening to her crying with extreme grievance at this moment, she felt extremely heartbroken. I'm sorry. It's all Mom's fault." Reaching out and holding her thin body in his arms, Huang Foming choked with sobs with red eyes. When Sanya saw that her sisters were all hugged but she wasn't, she quietly stayed close to her mother. Since Sanya was born, Huang Foming's life became even more difficult. Perhaps because she had resentment in her heart, she ignored this child most thoroughly. Looking at her cautious appearance at this moment, for some reason, the image of Lin Wanshu's fair and doted little Miao Miao flashed through her mind. They are both girls, but they are treated very differently just because they followed the wrong mother. Thinking of this, her heart was overwhelmed with guilt. He carefully opened his arms and held all three children in his arms. After a long while, she finally said, "Mom was mistaken before. I will protect you well in the future." After what happened the day before yesterday, Huang Foming finally figured it out. It's not worth it for a man. Since they don't allow her and her daughter to live a good life, no one else can have a good life. Being held in her arms was already enough to shock the three little ones, and hearing her say this made them feel even more that they must be dreaming. If it wasn't a dream, how could their mothers say such things? Several military wives looked at the four mother and daughters hugging each other, and there was even more relief in their eyes. Wang Chunling encouraged Huang Foming to cheer up, live a good life, and everything would be fine. Lin Wanshu also said, "The girls are smart and sensible. Who says girls are inferior to boys? If they are trained well, they will have a bright future." Huang Foming was not uneducated either. During the War of Resistance against Japanese aggression, there were many female heroes who performed outstandingly. The president has said that women hold up half the sky. She can obviously get a job on her own. She is no worse than any man. At this moment, Huang Foming was no longer confused and hesitant. She looked up at Lin Wanshu and nodded heavily. "Okay, I will teach them well, so that they will never be like me and foolishly entrust their future to another person. At all times, you must be self-reliant." After the mother and daughter calmed down a little, Wang Chunling brought over the egg soup. The bowls of this era are relatively large and look like small basins. She had just finished half of a bowl of egg soup. "Chunling, please help me feed them the rest." When Huang Fengying hugged the children just now, they were all skin and flesh. She felt sorry for them and wanted to let them eat some to make up for the loss.
Mom, you eat.
I'm not hungry. After all, Daya is only 6 or 7 years old. She knows that her mother is very weak and needs more nutrition than them. How could she be willing to eat her egg soup? Arya and Sonia couldn't help swallowing when they smelled the fragrance of the egg soup. But when they saw that Daya refused to eat, they also shook their heads. Seeing his sensible look, not only Huang Fengying, but also everyone else felt very distressed. Fengying, drink this egg soup first. I have some eggs at home. I'll bring some to you later. Originally, when Wang Chunling learned that she had lost the baby after the operation, she planned to send her eggs to nourish her body. Now, seeing that the mother and daughter were reluctant to drink the egg soup, he began to persuade them. Comrade Fengying, please drink it.
My family made some rice cakes this morning.
I'll bring some to them later. Lin Wanshu also said from the side. Now is the most difficult time for the 4 mother and daughters, and she will help if she can. She had no shortage of eggs, brown sugar, and other things, so she would pick some up and bring them back for Daya. Ji Hualon and Yu Fengfeng did not stand idly by either. They seemed to ask her to just focus on taking care of herself and leave everything else to them. Huang Fengying was deeply moved. I secretly swore in my heart that I must cheer up and not let them down. But in the end she still insisted on letting each of her 3 children eat a bite of egg and drink a sip of soup. After drinking the warm egg soup, Daya and Arya's eyes became hot. Looking at Huang Fengying's gentle eyes, they dared not even blink. I'm afraid that once I close my eyes and open them again, the beauty before my eyes will disappear. Sanya smacked her lips, as if she was still savoring the delicious food just now. What is it, anyway? Why is it tastier than grasshoppers? Wang Chunling fed Huang Fengying the remaining eggs and egg soup, and then carefully helped her to go to the toilet. Seeing that she was fine, they prepared to leave. Before leaving, they told him, if you need anything, just call us, or ask Daya to come find us. We are all neighbors, so don't be polite to us. People of this generation are inherently enthusiastic, and what's more, they live in the same family compound. It is impossible for them to stand idly by and watch Huang Fengying's current situation. Huang Fengying nodded repeatedly, her heart already deeply moved. Lin Wanshu asked Daya to go home with her to get the rice cakes. Daya subconsciously looked at her mother. Huang Fengying knew that she needed their help to recover, so she did not refuse.
Thank you.
When I get better, I will repay you. What nonsense. I will be relieved if you can take good care of yourself and be well in the future. Wang Chunling said angrily. Several people also told her not to think too much and to take good care of herself and rest more. After saying that, they didn't stay any longer and said goodbye to Huang Fengying. I didn't see Hu Indi in the yard. I don't know where she went, but she unexpectedly saw her man outside the fence. Why are you here? Lin Wanshu walked forward and asked in surprise. But before Qin Yan could speak, Feng Jianche's voice suddenly came from the side. Aunt Wanwan, I know. Uncle Qin is waiting for you here. Otherwise, why did Miao Miao want to leave a long time ago? But he didn't leave for so long. Feng Jianche felt that he was no longer a 3-year-old child. He knew all the tricks of adults. I was worried, so I came to take a look. Qin Yan was afraid that his wife would suffer a loss if she faced Hu Indi. Lin Wanshu didn't expect that he would come here specially to wait for her, even though the distance between the house was only in front and behind.
No wonder Hu Indi disappeared.
I guess no one knows where she went to hide. Feeling as if she had taken a sip of honey, Lin Wanshu turned to Qin Yan with a crooked eyebrow and said, It's okay, let's go back. After all, this is someone else's house, and it's not good for so many of them to be standing at the door. Several other people were stuffed with a mouthful of dog food as soon as they went out. Xiao Miao Miao wanted to go back just now, but her father didn't move for a long time. Just as the 2 brothers Shenxiai came, they found an ant hole and took her to play. Xiao Jianqi was playing with the 3 of them just now. In order to let his sister see more ants, he even spent a lot of money to pick some out of his toffee and threw it outside the ant hole, waiting for the ants to come and move it. At this time, Xiao Miao Miao was squatting under the fence, looking curiously at the gadgets crawling on the ground. Xinyu felt that there was nothing interesting about the ants and wanted to run away a long time ago, but when he saw that his brother was still with him, he forced himself to squat there. He can't lose anyway. Ji Hualan was shocked when she saw her eldest son, who had always been too steady like a child, squatting there to look at the ants. Wanshu, then. That's my Xinxiai, right? Unable to hold back, she touched Lin Wanshu's arm and asked dryly. Lin Wanshu didn't know why she was so shocked, but she nodded anyway. His name is Xinxiai. You don't know if he is from your family?
Yihualan.
I know, but the contrast is really too big. So much, so that she couldn't help but wonder if there was something wrong with her eyes. When Xinxiai saw the adults coming out, he took Xiao Miao Miao's hand. Sister, get up, the ants have gone back. The ants had just moved the toffee into the hole, and now there were not many ants left outside. Seeing this, Xiao Miao Miao didn't show any regret and let him lead her. Not to be outdone, Xinyu quickly reached out and took his sister's other hand. Qin Yang just finished talking to his wife, and when he turned around, he saw his daughter being held by the hands from left to right. Suddenly his face turned dark again. Lin Wanshu was very amused when he saw it. Let's go back first. I will go up the mountain to collect medicine later. Yun Province is a natural library of medicinal materials, and the most indispensable thing here is Chinese medicinal materials. When she heard that Lin Wanshu was going up the mountain, Yu Fangfang immediately became excited. I'm going too, you wait for me later. Although she didn't know what to do going up the mountain, it was better than staying at home. Besides, with Lin Wanshu here, she definitely wouldn't be bored. Ji Hualan happened to be going up the mountain to collect firewood, so he just came along. Wang Chunling's house doesn't have much, just firewood. In addition, she was not worried about Huang Fengying, so she had no plans to go up the mountain. You go, I still want to raise rice seedlings at home. The rice had been harvested a few days ago, and soon they would plant it again. In the past few days, the military wives had begun to raise seedlings one after another, so she thought she might as well do it today. Hearing this, the few of them didn't say anything. They made an appointment to meet at Lin Wanshu's house and went home to get their things. Dia remained silent and followed Lin Wanshu quietly. As if still recalling the happiness, just now. Dia, do you want to go up the mountain? After returning home, Lin Wanshu asked while bringing her rice cakes, eggs, and brown sugar. Dia knew that this aunt was kind-hearted, so she was no longer as restrained as she was at first. Annie, I'm not going. I still have to take care of my mother at home. Her mother is weak, and she is afraid that if she is not at home, what if her grandma bullies her? For such a sensible child, it was difficult for Lin Wanshu not to be soft-hearted. After putting the rice cakes, brown sugar, and eggs into the basket, she took out a handful of toffee and stuffed them into her. Take these back and eat them with your sister. Although Dia is young, she understands everything. She had been given so many things. How could she have the nerve to ask for her toffee again? Auntie, no need. As she spoke, she backed away, holding her pocket. But how could she, a child, stop an adult? By the time I left the house, I had already stuffed a handful of toffee in my pocket. Looking back at the beautiful figure in the yard, the scene of her putting a pastry into her hand flashed through my mind. Dia had an indescribable feeling in her heart. In the past few years, she seemed to have been living in darkness with no end in sight. And Lin Wanshu's appearance was like a ray of light shining on her. It also gave her hope. After Lin Wanshu sent Dia away, he took out a backpack, a machete, and a short. It would be already around 9 o'clock in the morning, almost 10 o'clock in the morning. She gave Dia a few pieces of the rice cakes she made in the morning. There was still some left over, so she just packed it in a food box so that she could eat it in case she got hungry later. After putting these into the basket, she added a jug of water. After doing this, Yu Fangfang came over. She was going to play, so she brought nothing but a water bottle. On the contrary, Xiao Jianxi was carrying a small backpack and he looked like he was going to pick up something. Not long after, Ji Hualan and his two sons also came over. When everyone is here, we set off directly. Lin Wanshu only carried a water bottle on his back, and Qin Yan took the basket away from him. Even the little Meow Meow was carried by him. Going up the mountain is also through the back door. After walking for a while, turn left at the fork in the road. The road to the mountain is easy to walk. On weekdays, there are probably many people walking on it, so the road is well trodden. They just had to keep walking along the path. The little boys probably went up the mountain frequently on weekdays and were very familiar with this area. As soon as they left the family home, Shenyu and Feng Jianxi ran ahead. In this era, children are free-range, running all over the mountains and plains on weekdays. When it is too dangerous, the parents will give them a good beating, but they basically ignore them on weekdays. Xiao Miao Miao has been in the family home for so long. This is the first time she goes up the mountain. She is dancing and excited all the way. Fortunately, Qin Yan was very strong. Lin Wanshu felt that if he had carried him instead, he would probably have to stop eating before he had gone very far. Qin Yan is not only strong, but also very patient. As long as Milkman is curious, he will never tire of telling her what this is and what that is. Occasionally, he even managed to produce a handful of wild fruits from somewhere and gave a few to his daughter, while most of the rest was secretly given to his wife. This leisurely look does not look like someone who came to the mountain to collect medicine, but rather like someone who came to play. Lin Wanshu walked while eating the fruit given by his man. Occasionally, when someone is not paying attention, he will secretly stuff one into his mouth. The group of people walked up the mountain in a lively manner. I don't know if there are more people collecting firewood recently, but I didn't see any firewood until halfway up the mountain. But there was no firewood, but there were quite a few fungi. Yun Province is rich in fungi. From May to September every year, various fungi in the mountains sprout like bamboo shoots after a rain. What I picked yesterday will bring new ones tomorrow. I can't finish picking them every day. It's just that there are too many types of fungi here, and many of them are poisonous. Most of the military wives were from other places, and apart from common fungi, they did not dare to pick anything else. But even so, they still picked up a lot along the way. Especially Xiao Jianxi. Since he entered the mountains, he is like a little mouse falling into a rice vat, stopping from time to time to ask the adults, "Can this be picked? Can that be picked?" Yu Fangfang was almost annoyed to death by him. How does she know if it can be picked? She is usually only responsible for eating. Fortunately, Lin Wanshu had studied this thing in her previous life, and she could basically recognize the mushrooms that appeared along the way. In the end, Xiao Jianxi simply didn't look for anyone else and just asked Lin Wanshu, "Aunt Wanwan, can I pick this?" When they reached halfway up the mountain, Xiao Jianxi found another bunch of mushrooms. He was not sure whether they were edible or not, so he walked straight past his mother and went to find Lin Wanshu. Yu Fangfang, who was ignored, was not unhappy at all. Instead, she felt that her son had good vision and knew who was the most powerful here. Lin Wanshu happened to be picking mushrooms as well. She patted them first to help them release their spores so that they could continue to reproduce. Then she picked the whole mushroom and put it into the basket Qin Yan was carrying. After picking them, I went with Xiao Jianxi to see the mushrooms he had found. When Xiao Miao Miao saw her mother picking mushrooms just now, she was eager to try it herself. Qin Yan didn't stop her and let her go. He had served in the army in Yunnan province for quite some time and was very familiar with the mushrooms here, so he was not worried that the little guy might pick the wrong ones. Lin Wanshu and Xiao Jianxi walked in front, and the father and daughter followed behind. Everyone else was busy with their own work. Some were collecting firewood, some were picking mushrooms. Only Yu Fangfang has the most free time. Her son picked mushrooms, and she was too lazy to do it herself, so she just looked for wild fruits. What's more, she actually found quite a few wild fruits. The strangest thing among them is that there are white crystals on the bunches of fruits. Those crystals are actually salt. They taste sour and salty, which is very strange. Feng Yandong had picked some for her to eat before, and Yu Fangfang liked them very much, so she just picked a few bunches and planned to take them home to eat slowly. On the other side, Lin Wanshu and Xiao Jianxi had already arrived in front of a clump of mushrooms. The cap of the mushroom is semicircular and pink, and the stem is relatively thick, which looks very beautiful. Mushroom, I don't know if it's because little girls are naturally interested in beautiful things, But when Xiao Miao Miao saw such beautiful mushrooms, she immediately reached out to pick them. But he was stopped by Lin Wanshu. No, my brother discovered it first. Xiao Miao Miao was stopped and was not very happy, and her little mouth pouted immediately. When Xiao Jianxi saw that his sister was unhappy, he wanted to give the mushrooms to her. But before he could open his mouth, he heard Shin Xiai shouting from a distance, "Sister, there are mushrooms here, come quickly." Although Xiao Miao Miao is still young, she is very smart and knows who treats her best. Hearing Shin Xi's call, she ran over without hesitation. Small construction. It was clearly me who discovered the mushrooms first, and my sister also wanted them. So how come Shin Xiai got there first? Xiao Jianxi was depressed. Lin Wanshu looked at the mushrooms on the ground carefully, and after a moment, she said to Xiao Jianxi, "This is the green mushroom. It can be eaten, but it must be cooked thoroughly. Eating it undercooked will cause poisoning." When he heard that there was a possibility of poisoning, Xiao Jianxi immediately felt that this beautiful mushroom was not fragrant anymore.
Then I don't want it.
I'll look for it again. When he finds it later, he will ask his sister to pick it first. This time, he must not let Shin Xiai steal his limelight. After saying that, Xiao Jianxi left without any reluctance at all. Lin Wanshu. Looking at the patch of green weeds on the ground, Lin Wanshu felt it was a pity. After a pause, she reached out and patted the pink mushrooms. It is dangerous to eat the mushroom, but it is also a rare and delicious mushroom. Moreover, she has various detoxifying medicines and spiritual spring water in her space, so she is not worried about any accidents. Qin Yan saw that his daughter and the boy from the Shin family were having so much fun picking mushrooms that they had forgotten about him as their father. He couldn't help but sigh. In the end, I didn't have the heart to spoil her fun, and since Shin Xiai was looking for the most common flat-top mushrooms, I just ignored it. Just tell him if he is not sure what breed it is, to ask an adult first. Naturally, Shin Xiai agreed. After finally getting permission to play with his sister, he took care of her wholeheartedly. While Shin Xiai was looking after Xiao Miao Miao, Qin Yan went to collect firewood. Xiao Xinyue went up the mountain just to catch chameleons and dig out bird nests, and he was not interested in mushrooms at all. While his mother was collecting firewood, he went around looking for bird nests. After Lin Wanshu picked all the green lilies, she continued to look for herbs. Her trip to find medicine for Lin Jimin was just a side job. Her main purpose was actually to find the medicinal materials for her 2 prescriptions for injuries. Yunnan province is indeed a natural storehouse of medicinal materials, with dense forests and rich vegetation. Before long, Lin Wanshu found several things. However, there was one herb that happened to grow on a steep rock wall, making it a little difficult to pick. Lin Wanshu grabbed the branch with one hand and reached for the herbs with the other, but found that she could barely reach them. She didn't plan to embarrass herself if she couldn't pick the one, so she prepared to call her man over. But before she could withdraw her hand, she saw a cobra appear on the stone wall. When Lin Wanshu suddenly saw the snake head, her heart almost stopped beating.
Ah,
it's a snake. Still, a poisonous snake. If she hadn't had a shred of rationality left in her, she would have screamed out loud. Although it's true that she grew up in the countryside, it doesn't affect her fear of this thing at all. Holding her breath, she forced herself to calm down while silently searching for the silenced anesthetic gun in the space. I plan to take advantage of its unpreparedness and shoot it directly. The location of this herb is a bit peculiar. There is a cliff in front, a big tree behind, and slopes on both sides. She is alone here, so even if she uses a tranquilizer gun, she is not afraid of being seen. The man and the snake were in a stalemate, and Lin Wanshu felt her back was soaked with sweat. After calculating the shooting direction, the next second, a palm-sized anesthetic gun appeared in her palm. Almost at the moment the gun appeared, the cobra suddenly ejected and pounced straight towards her. Lin Wanshu fired the gun without hesitation. But at the same time, a stone was suddenly thrown from behind. With a pop sound, the stone hit the snake accurately. Everything happened in a flash. Before Lin Wanshu could react, her waist tightened and she was embraced in a hot embrace. A familiar man's scent came over her, and Lin Wanshu suddenly froze like a stone. Her head was buzzing as she was still holding the anesthetic gun which she had not had time to retract.
Did he see it?
At the same time, Qin Yan, who was holding her, had a look of shock on his face and couldn't stop shaking. What kind of method is this? How can she conjure things out of thin air? Neither of them spoke, and the air was surprisingly quiet. Lin Wanshu's mind was in a mess, and her heart was beating wildly. She didn't expect that her secret would be exposed so unexpectedly, although she has decided to live a good life with him. But the matter of space was too horrifying, and she couldn't be sure that he knew what would happen next. At this moment, Lin Wanshu felt an indescribable fear in her heart. This fear made her want to escape from here. The sooner the better. Qin Yan's breath was choked when he noticed the resistance of the woman in his arms. The boundless panic was like a huge wave that swallowed him up directly. She wants to leave herself. As this thought flashed through his mind, Qin Yan's eyes were filled with blood. The man's arms around her suddenly tightened, and Lin Wanshu felt like she could hardly breathe. You let go. Not caring whether he discovered her secret or not, she reached out and pushed him. At this moment, Qin Yan's mind was full of the thought that she was going to leave him. When he heard this, his tense nerves completely broke. Don't even think about it. After saying this with gritted teeth, Qin Yan fiercely blocked those red lips. It was as if he was afraid that she would say something that he couldn't accept at all. Lin Wanshu never thought that he would kiss her. The man's hot breath fell with his domineering kiss, and her mind went blank in an instant. This was the first kiss they had since they met. Lin Wanshu could never have imagined that this would happen here, even after she had exposed her secret. At this moment, panic, fear, nervousness, shyness, and other emotions surged up, making it almost impossible for her to stand. When she came to her senses, she couldn't help but struggle again. How can he be here? What if someone sees us? But in Qin Yan's eyes, this struggle seemed to be that she still wanted to escape from him. The originally blood-red eyes took on a bit more blood color, and the domineering kiss became more ferocious. How could Lin Wanshu resist? After a while, her head became a little dizzy, and her whole body limply leaned against his arms. Wan,
Wife.
you are mine. There was the man's sigh in her ears and his still passionate and lingering kiss on her lips. It was unknown how long it took before Lin Wanshu was finally released, and her lips had become red and swollen, completely unbearable to look at. Qin Yan was still holding the person and refused to let go. Looking at the woman in his arms with rosy cheeks and watery eyes, the panic in his heart was slightly relieved. But it's not enough. There are still deadly landmines between them. If you step on it accidentally, you'll be crushed to pieces. Qin Yan couldn't imagine what would happen if she disappeared from his world. No matter what secret she has, he only knows that she is his woman. I can only stay by his side in this life. Lin Wanshu looked at his increasingly dark gaze, and her heart, which had not yet calmed down, began to beat wildly again. Afraid that he would kiss her again, she covered her mouth and said in a low voice, "Let go first, let's go back and talk." Although they are husband and wife, it is not appropriate for them to be so intimate in public. Especially since he is a soldier, they should be more careful about the impact. Qin Yan didn't want to let her go at all. He was afraid that if he let go, she would disappear. Lin Wanshu felt his nervousness, and the fear in her heart was slightly relieved. Maybe the outcome of this matter is not as bad as I thought. Thinking of this, her voice softened. I wanted to pick that herb just now, but it was too high to reach.
Can you help me?
Originally, Qin Yan had no power to resist her, not to mention that he had just kissed her. How could he resist hearing a woman's soft and coquettish voice? Okay, wait a minute, I'll pull it out. Having said that, he did not let go of the person. He held Lin Wanshu with one hand and raised the other hand, easily plucked the herb and handed it to her. Anything else you need to pull? Point it out to me and I'll pull it all for you. Lin Wanshu looked at the big hand that was tightly holding hers and could not help but remain silent. In the end, she didn't say anything, but just pointed out the herb she found. Qin Yan didn't mind the trouble, So he took his wife's hand and walked all the way to the destination. Fortunately, everyone else was busy and no one noticed them. For the rest of the time, she basically did nothing but kept thinking about whether she should tell others about the space, and if so, how to say it. Qin Yan didn't say anything and continued to help her pick the herbs seriously. Occasionally, when I saw firewood and mushrooms, I would pick them up as well. While he was doing all this, he always kept Lin Wanshu by his side. If Lin Wanshu hadn't protested strongly later, he would probably have kept holding her hand. Qin Yan moved quickly, and soon he had picked up 2 large bundles of firewood. The backpack was also filled with mushrooms and herbs. Others also had a good harvest. Xiao Jianxi's small backpack was already full of mushrooms. Yu Fangfang was holding a variety of fruits in her hands. Ji Hualan was carrying 2 bundles of firewood, and even Xiao Miaomiao was holding a handful of mushrooms in one hand. Lin Wanshu's lips were still a little red and swollen. She was afraid of being discovered, so she pulled her hat down low on the way back. Yu Fangfang looked at her strangely for several times. Wanwan, can you see the road with your hat on like this? Lin Wanshu. The temperature on my face, which had finally dropped, suddenly rose several degrees again. Ji Hualan was an experienced person. Seeing Lin Wanshu looking uncomfortable, how could she not guess what she had just done? But she didn't expect that Yu Fangfang didn't look so slow on weekdays. Why was she so thick-skinned today? The sun is so strong, and my skin is so white that it won't be affected by the sun. If I don't pull my hat down a little, what will I do if I get tanned? Ji Hualan was a considerate person to begin with. Knowing that Lin Wanshu was shy, she smoothed things over for her. Yu Fangfang looked up at the dense trees above her head with a look of doubt. Is the sun very strong? Why doesn't she feel it? Lin Wanshu was afraid that she would continue to ask questions, so she walked quickly in front with Xiao Miaomiao in her arms. Qin Yan's attention has always been on his wife. Seeing her quicken her pace, he also followed her. The family of 3 quickly distanced themselves from the group. Yu Fangfang looked at the inseparable couple in front of her, and then she realized something and looked a little embarrassed. I didn't expect that these 2 people who looked serious could be so bold. However, the 2 people walking in front were not as affectionate as Yu Fangfang had imagined. Instead, after calming down, he fell into a strange silence again. Lin Wanshu walked in front holding Xiao Miaomiao, and the man's gaze behind her was long and indifferent. On the way back, Qin Yan still didn't let her take anything. He carried 2 bundles of firewood and a backpack full of herbs and mushrooms. Lin Wanshu was responsible for holding Xiao Miaomiao. The little guy was probably tired from playing, and after walking a short distance, he laid his little head on his mother's shoulder and fell asleep. Without the baby's babbling voice, the atmosphere became even more weird. Although the accident just now was interrupted. But after all, the issue of space is still here. Until it is resolved, this knot will always exist. Lin Wanshu thought about it for a long time, but still didn't know how to start. In the end, I just remained silent. It is said that it is easier to go up the mountain than to go down, but the Red Star Brigade is mountainous, and Lin Wanshu has gotten used to it, so it doesn't matter if she carries the baby down the mountain. The way back was very smooth, and Lin Wanshu walked back home in one breath. Xiao Miaomiao still didn't wake up, so she simply carried her into the house. After Qin Yan put down the firewood and the backpack, he followed him into the house. The room was originally quite spacious, but for some reason it felt cramped today. The man didn't say anything, but his presence was so strong that it was difficult for Lin Wanwan to ignore him. She put the baby on the bed, and he helped pull the quilt over the little one's belly. She went to the kitchen to cook, and he helped wash the mushrooms she had just picked. After she washed the rice and put it on the stove, he helped to light the fire. Although the 2 cooperated well, they still didn't speak. It was as if he was afraid that if he opened his mouth, it would shatter the calm appearance and send things spiraling in a direction that could not be reversed. Today's harvest was quite good. In addition to herbs, there were also quite a few mushrooms. She was planning to use the flat-top mushrooms to make soup, but when she saw the green ones, she just used them for stir-frying. Qin Yan had already washed the mushrooms, so now she just needed to slice the mushrooms. While Qin Yan was making a fire, Lin Wanshu took the chopping board and started cutting mushrooms. There are 2 skylights on the ceiling of the kitchen, so it is bright even in broad daylight. The pink color immediately turns into indigo when cut open. This thing is delicious, but if it is not handled properly, it can easily lead to bad luck. Although Lin Wanshu had something on her mind, she was still very alert in dealing with Jian Shouqing. Cut each slice as thin as possible to avoid it being too thick and not being cooked through. It took her almost half an hour to cut the whole plate of green vegetables. The porridge cooked by Qin Yan had already started to bubble. He opened the lid of the pot and took the firewood to the stove next to it. I planned to light a fire and cook for her. After Lin Wanshu saw her hands were blue after cutting them, she found a handful of dried chilies. Seeing that the pot had been washed and heated, she directly scooped a large spoonful of lard into it. Qin Yan's eyebrows jumped. It's not that I feel sorry for her using so much oil, but these days few people would be willing to use so much oil to stir-fry a vegetable. When he thought of the scene he saw on the mountain, his already aching heart lifted up again. Those unreasonable things in the past seemed to have an explanation. Lin Wanshu noticed his gaze, but she didn't explain anything. Instead, she put a handful of dried chilies and a few cloves of garlic into the pot. After a while, a spicy aroma filled the kitchen. After the peppers were sautéed, Lin Wanshu put the green onion into the pot. Be more angry. This was the first time she spoke since coming down the mountain. Qin Yan looked at the little face shrouded in smoke and inexplicably felt a sense of unreality. He resisted the urge to touch her and paused before nodding.
Good.
As he said this, he stuffed 2 pieces of firewood into the stove. After a while, the fire became stronger and the flames even spread out of the stove. Lin Wanshu calculated the time carefully and made sure that it had been fried for more than 20 minutes before she packed the giant Chowking. The remaining flat-top mushrooms can be cooked directly and added with some salt to make them delicious. A lunch was prepared quickly. Xiao Miao Miao hadn't gotten up yet, and Lin Wanshu didn't call her, planning to let her get enough sleep before waking her up for dinner. There were only the couple in the kitchen. Giant Chowking is indeed a famous mountain delicacy. It becomes extremely delicious when fried with just a little salt. Lin Wanshu likes this taste very much. But she didn't know how to do it at first in her previous life, and she got caught once. At first she didn't notice anything wrong until she heard the cat at home talking. Then she realized something was wrong. Qin Yan had something on his mind, so any delicious food tasted like wax in his mouth, and he couldn't taste anything at all. He used to be able to eat several bowls of rice in one meal, but today he only ate 2 bowls and put down his chopsticks. But he didn't leave. He just sat quietly in his seat waiting for Lin Wanshu. But after he sat down for a while, a strange scene appeared in front of him. In the picture, Lin Wanshu was wearing a red coat with her jet black hair behind her head. The look was both strange and familiar. I say familiar because she also wore red on the day she married me. I say strange because the style of her clothes was different, her hair was different, and even her makeup was different. But even with so many differences, Qin Yan still realized at a glance that this was the simple and small house she lived in before she got married. I took her from here to my home. And now she looks like she is waiting for the groom to come and pick her up. Although he knew that she was marrying him, at this moment, Qin Yan inexplicably had a bad premonition. It was as if the following scene was something he could not bear. After a while, there was a bustling sound coming from the door. The groom is here to pick up the bride. Hearing this, Qin Yan's breathing tightened, and he stared with his eyes wide open, staring at the familiar wooden door in the picture. There was a bustling sound coming from the door, and someone was trying to stop the groom. Qin Yan pricked up his ears, but he couldn't hear Qing Lang's voice. His heart seemed to be squeezed tightly by an invisible hand, and he felt like he could hardly breathe. The person behind the door must be him, and it can only be him. With this thought in mind, Qin Yan held his breath and waited anxiously. He didn't understand why he saw such a scene. It was all so clear that it didn't seem like an illusion, let alone a dream. Time passed minute by minute, and I didn't know how long it had been before the door finally opened with a creaky sound. Then, a thin figure appeared at the door. Wan Shu, I'm here to pick you up. With a boom, it would not be an exaggeration to say that the scene before Qin Yan was a bolt from the blue. Why is the groom not him, but Zhao Mingyuan? Qin Yan thought this was ridiculous. He was probably dreaming. Thinking of this, he tried to wake himself up, but it was no use. Zhao Mingming led a few people into the house in a lively manner. Seeing him walk up to Lin Wanshu, Qin Yan no longer cared whether he was dreaming or something else. He immediately stood in front of Lin Wanshu. However, Zhao Mingyuan was not affected at all. Under the urging of the crowd, he carried Lin Wanshu on his back.
No. Wan,
Come down. Looking at her being carried by Zhao Mingyuan, Qin Yan's eyes were bloodshot. He almost died on the front line but remained calm, but at this moment, he was extremely scared. He wanted to go up and pick Lin Wanshu up, but he couldn't do it at all. He couldn't touch her and could only watch her being carried out the door. This feeling of powerlessness almost drove him crazy. That's his daughter-in-law, his woman. How could she marry another man? Wan,
don't marry him. Come back.
At this moment, it didn't matter what secret she had, and he didn't want to know. He only knew that he couldn't lose her. Qin Yan chased after the two of them like crazy. Even though he knew he couldn't touch her, he still refused to accept his fate. He tried again and again to get her back. But every time I came up empty-handed. He passed through her body like a ball of air. How so? Qin Yan was unwilling to give up. So, he kept following the two of them, until he saw her step into the Zhao family's gate. He finally grabbed that soft little hand with some energy he didn't know where it came from. But before he could make any other move, he heard a woman's anxious voice. But every time I came up empty-handed. He passed through her body like a ball of air. How so? Qin Yan was unwilling to give up. So, he kept following the two of them, until he saw her step into the Zhao family's gate. Although his pulse had been checked, his poisoning was not serious. But his crazy look really scared her. She was worried that the antidote would be too slow to work, so Lin Wanshu simply made a bowl of rice soup and dripped 2 drops of spiritual spring water into the bowl. But Qin Yan seemed to be still trapped in a terrible fantasy and refused to open his mouth. In the end, she had no choice but to pick up the bowl and take a sip. Then, she put her arms around the man's neck and blocked his mouth. But she had just crossed the water, and the next second, she was hugged tightly into that hot embrace.
Wife.
How good it is that you are here, and that you did not marry him. The man's words were somewhat incoherent, but Lin Wanshu's scalp went numb. So, he just saw her marrying Zhao Mingyuan? But how is this possible?
He was dead by then.
Lin Wanwan knew that being poisoned by the green scorpion could make people see all kinds of strange images. She had heard of things like subtitles and answers, but she didn't expect that this thing could also let him see her previous life. This is too outrageous. But before she could think more, the man's hot lips took the initiative and kissed her. I don't know if it was because of the scene just now that stimulated him. Qin Yan's movements were eager and domineering. It was as if he couldn't wait to leave his mark on her. After a while, Lin Wanshu's clothes were crumpled into a mess.
Wait.
Not here. After finally catching her breath, she quickly spoke. This is the kitchen, in broad daylight. If she were caught by someone, would she still be able to live as a human being? After hearing this, Qin Yan's frantic eyes finally regained some clarity. He blinked and looked at the woman in his arms blankly. I saw that her face was as rosy as a peach, delicate and beautiful. Her eyebrows were full of spring, her eyes were like water. Her black hair had long fallen down, and a few strands of hair hung down on the open neckline. Her flawless skin, against the backdrop of her black hair, looked like the finest mutton fat jade. The beauty leaned in his arms with her clothes in disarray. Apart from being shy, she did not show any intention of rejecting him. After just one glance, Qin Yan seemed unable to bear it and suddenly hugged her tightly in his arms again. Lin Wanshu was afraid that the poison from the mushrooms he had just eaten had not yet been resolved, so she reached out and pushed him. You may have been poisoned by the mushrooms just now. Drink some rice soup. As she spoke, Lin Wanshu reached out and picked up the bowl of rice soup and handed it to him. Poisoned? Was the scene he just saw an illusion caused by mushroom poisoning? Well, most of the symptoms of safflower poisoning include hallucinations. As she spoke, Lin Wanshu told him about a case she had heard before. However, Qin Yan inexplicably felt that the scene just now was too real and did not seem like an illusion at all. Originally, Qin Yan was a staunch materialist and did not believe in supernatural things. But ever since he saw her creating something out of thin air in the morning, his worldview had been overturned. How could the hallucination be so detailed that even the people who came to pick up the bride could see it? It was even so clear that he could see exactly what dowry she brought and who the matchmaker was. Qin Yan couldn't help but start to doubt. Do people really have past lives and present lives? And in her previous life, she married another man instead of herself? When he thought of this possibility, he felt as if a large ball of cotton was suddenly stuffed into his chest, causing him to feel suffocating and unbearable pain. Unexpectedly, he didn't drink the rice soup and almost hugged her to the point of suffocation. Lin Wanshu was annoyed. If you don't drink this rice soup, I will ignore you. Lin Wanshu glared at him fiercely and threatened. Hearing her delicate threats, Qin Yan barely came back to his senses from the boundless darkness. Looking at the person in front of him, countless questions flashed through his mind. What on earth was going on in the scene I just saw? Seeing that his vision had finally come into focus, Lin Wanshu breathed a sigh of relief and handed the bowl directly to his lips. Qin Yan looked at the person in front of him steadily, with countless questions in his mind. This time Qin Yan was obedient. He opened his mouth and gulped down the rice soup. As soon as the rice soup went down his throat, Qin Yan felt a long-lost warm current flowing throughout his body. Wherever I go, all the discomfort in my body is soothed, and even my limbs and bones feel indescribably comfortable. The feeling was exactly the same as the first time he drank the chicken soup she cooked in the hospital. What on earth is this? How could it have such a horrible effect?
How are you?
Feeling better? After he finished drinking the rice soup, Lin Wanshu asked. Qin Yan met those unguarded clear eyes and didn't know what to feel in his heart. At the very least, she is his daughter-in-law now, and will always be so in the future. Nothing happened. Qin Yan shook his head. Hearing this, Lin Wanshu finally felt relieved. At this moment, she also realized how ambiguous their hugging posture was. Lin Wanshu moved her body, trying to distance herself, but the next second, the man's hand tightened. She fell back into his arms. In the end, the distance not only did not widen, but it became even closer. Don't move. Qin Yan's voice was incredibly hoarse. Lin Wanshu. Sensing the increasingly powerful threat, how could Lin Wanshu dare to move? In the end, I had no choice but to sit motionless on his lap. But this is not a solution, after all. My clothes are still a mess. People these days love to visit each other, and if they were seen, the rumor might spread to the army tomorrow. Miao Miao will probably wake up soon. I'll prepare some porridge for her. After thinking about it, Lin Wanshu decided to find a safer topic. It's not that she is being pretentious, nor that she doesn't have needs. The main reason is that the space issue hasn't been sorted out yet. If they accidentally have another baby, and then the two of them can't live together, that would be troublesome. She planned to tell him something after he calmed down. Qin Yan noticed her nervousness, but did not make things difficult for her. He hugged her for a while longer before reluctantly letting go. Finally free, Lin Wanshu quickly got off his lap and frantically buttoned her clothes. Don't worry, I can hear you. There's no one outside. Seeing that she had failed to button it properly after several attempts, Qin Yan reached out to help. His movements were steady but quick, and in a short while, he had buttoned her shirt again. After her clothes and hair were tidied, Lin Wanshu finally breathed a sigh of relief. She took out a bowl and poured some porridge for Xiao Miao Miao, leaving it to dry. She did not forget to tell Qin Yan, "You can't eat it now, Giant Shaoqing, just drink some soup." Qin Yan looked at the plate of Giant Shaoqing in front of him, and the scene he just saw flashed through his mind uncontrollably. For a moment, He wished he could throw away the giant shaoqing on the table along with the plate. How could he possibly eat another bite of it? Lin Wanshu didn't know what he was thinking. She had no problem eating the green onion, so she had no taboos and ate it all. After finishing their meal, Xiao Miao Miao still hadn't woken up, so they went into the study room one after another in tacit understanding. As soon as she entered, Lin Wanshu closed the door and windows. The two sat side by side on the sofa. The room was quiet. After a long while, Lin Wanshu finally spoke. Do you have anything to ask?
How could there not be?
Qin Yan had a lot of questions he wanted to ask, but he inexplicably felt that her secret could not be known to anyone else, not even himself. After pondering for a moment, he said, "When did you discover that you had this ability? Is this ability innate or acquired? If she was born that way, is she still human?" Hearing this, Lin Wanshu hesitated a little. After all, she had discovered that she had space in her previous life. But she didn't want to talk about her past life. After all, it wasn't a pleasant thing, and talking about it would only cause unnecessary trouble. After thinking for a while, she said, "I am a living person just like you. I will get sick and grow old. What you saw this morning." Before he could finish his words, he was interrupted. "That's enough, Wanwan, no need to say more." After getting the answer he wanted, Qin Yan didn't let her continue. Lin Wanshu was a little surprised. He didn't want to listen? Aren't you curious? Meeting her clear and pure eyes, Qin Yan couldn't help but sigh.
I'm curious.
Qin Yan said seriously, but compared to your safety, I'd rather never know. Hearing this, Lin Wanshu was a little shocked. She didn't expect him to say that. After all, it can create something out of thin air. Who wouldn't want to study it? But he just lifted it up so lightly? Lin Wanshu thought of countless possibilities, but she never thought that he would choose not to pry into her secret.
Boom, boom, boom.
My heart skipped a beat uncontrollably. Looking at the upright man in front of her, Lin Wanshu felt that she had not been wronged at all. A man like this, who is good-looking, has a good figure, and has a decent character, it is difficult for any woman not to be moved by him. Looking at her moved and infatuated expression, Qin Yan felt his blood boiling and couldn't help but feel a little worried. My wife is really too low in guard. Isn't she worried that she is just pretending? Unable to hold back, Qin Yan gently embraced the person in his arms. Wanwan, no matter what you have, promise me that you won't use it if you don't have to. Protect yourself and don't let anyone know, including me. The state apparatus is no joke. Especially now that the whole country is trying to catch spies. If she shows any abnormality, she will easily be targeted. Qin Yan whispered all these in her ear. The low voice blew into Lin Wanshu's ears along with the warm airflow, and she couldn't stand the itch. But he was teaching her how to protect herself, so how could she hide away? In the end, Lin Wanshu could only force herself to endure the itching in her ears and listen to him carefully. As expected of an officer in the army, he had considered many things that Lin Wanshu had not considered. After being enlightened by him, she felt that her self-preservation awareness was strengthened a little bit. The man spoke slowly and steadily. His voice was full and had a hint of magnetism. The scent of masculine hormones surrounded her tightly. Lin Wanshu had never suspected that she might be a voice control as she did at this moment. Otherwise, why would I feel such a tingling sensation just by listening to his voice? Qin Yan looked at the ear in front of him, which was originally flawless, white jade. It was getting redder and redder until it was almost dripping with blood. His eyes couldn't help but darken. After finally finishing his words, he held her in his lap again. Lin Wanshu never thought that he would use this trick again. She almost couldn't help but scream out in surprise. But perhaps because of what she just said, she didn't resist anymore. Just lean on his arms obediently. Qin Yan was still furious after losing control in the kitchen just now. In fact, this restlessness has been there since the first day I met her. He just restrained himself because he was afraid of scaring her. Now that the two of them were talking it out, and she was so obedient and looked like she was okay with whatever he did, how could he bear it? I don't know when it started, but their lips were kissing each other again. But this time, the person who took the initiative turned out to be Lin Wanshu. She is no longer a real 21-year-old woman. Now that she is sure of this, she will not be shy about it. What's more, she was really fascinated by him just now. Lin Wanshu didn't know whether he would change in the future, but at least she was happy at this moment. She was able to bear the consequences of her impulsiveness, so she stopped worrying about it. Qin Yan felt those two little hands on his body fanning the flames, and he almost lost half his life. Although he knew how seductive his wife was at this moment, he was still so seductive that his mind went blank. Isn't she really a goblin? The temperature in the room kept rising. Lin Wanshu's clothes, which she had just put on, became a mess again without her knowing when. Qin Yan wasn't much better. But before he could take the next step, suddenly, another image flashed through his mind. In a festively decorated room, Lin Wanshu was sitting quietly on the bed, seemingly waiting for someone. When Qin Yan saw the red jacket she was wearing, his breath was held in his throat. But perhaps because of the shock he had just experienced, he was still relatively calm at the moment. Although the blood was boiling in his throat, he still stared at the person in the picture. At this moment, his mind was extremely clear, because he could clearly feel the warm skin as smooth as cream sliding down his palm, and the woman's fragrant and soft red lips. On one side was her passionate kiss in his arms, and on the other side was the scene of her waiting for someone in the bridal chamber. Qin Yan felt as if he was about to be torn apart. Qin Yan restrained himself from showing any abnormality and looked at the scene in his mind without making any mistake. It was probably already late at night, but Zhao Mingyuan still hadn't come back. Lin Wanshu, who was wearing her wedding dress, had a puzzled look on her face. In the end, she didn't wait any longer and just washed her face, changed her clothes, and lay down. Seeing her like this, Qin Yan felt much better for some reason. Because on the wedding night, not only did she wait for me, but her face was also full of shyness that only a bride would have. But it was only a little better. When he thought about what was going to happen next, his heart felt like it was being torn apart and bleeding. Hiss. After being bitten, Lin Wanshu couldn't help but take a deep breath. Hearing her cry of pain, Qin Yan suddenly came back to his senses. Without caring about what he had just seen, he quickly let the person go and asked nervously, "Where did you bite? Let me see." Lin Wanshu glared at him with a somewhat reproachful look before slowly opening her red lips. The woman's originally rosy face was now covered with blush, and her watery eyes were even more tearful, giving her a lively and charming look. Qin Yan's Adam's apple rolled up and down, and after a pause, he reached out and pinched her chin to examine it carefully. When he saw the faint trace of blood on the side of the little mouth, a trace of annoyance flashed in his eyes. "I'm sorry. I was just too excited." Obviously, this small cut meant nothing to him, but Qin Yan couldn't bear to see even a small wound on her body and wished he could suffer it for her. Lin Wanshu shook her head. It doesn't matter. Compared to this bite, she was more concerned about why he suddenly lost control. The look was just like the symptoms of having green hands after eating. Were you hallucinating again? Didn't the spiritual spring water eliminate the toxins in his body? As Lin Wanshu asked, she grabbed his hand, placed it on the armrest of the sofa, and began to take his pulse. Listening to her gentle concern and watching her carefully taking his pulse, Qin Yan's discomfort was gradually eased. Unable to hold back, he hugged her tightly in his arms. "I'm fine. Maybe I didn't get enough rest." There was no way he would let that inexplicable thing stand between them. It was not easy to marry her home. Qin Yan didn't care whether it was an illusion or her past life. As long as the person holding her now is me, that's enough. Lin Wanshu took her pulse and found that there was indeed nothing abnormal. If there was anything wrong, it was probably that his pulse seemed much stronger than before. If she hadn't known that he was here to serve in the army, Lin Wanshu would have suspected that he had secretly practiced martial arts. Seeing that he was fine, Lin Wanshu let go of his hand. "Then I'll prescribe some tranquilizers for you to drink." Hearing this, Qin Yan did not refuse. Good. The intimacy just now was interrupted unexpectedly, and the two did not continue. Firstly, the time was not right. It was midday, and someone could come over at any time. Secondly, I was afraid that Xiao Miao Miao would wake up suddenly, which would be awkward. Speak of the devil, and here he appears. Lin Wanshu was tidying up her clothes when she heard Xiao Miao Miao crying from the next room.
Whoa.
Hearing that the baby had woken up, Lin Wanshu quickly responded and was about to go out. Wait, this button is not buttoned yet. Qin Yan stopped her, and his slender fingers fell on a button under her chest. Lin Wanshu blushed, and the embarrassing scene just now flashed through her mind. I can do it myself. But the man still had that overbearing attitude, and didn't let her do anything. With a move of his fingers, the button fell accurately back into the buttonhole.
All right.
The hot temperature of his palm seemed to still remain on her skin, and Lin Wanshu's heart skipped a beat. Not daring to look any further, she nodded randomly and went out. Although she was well prepared, she was still a novice after all. After calming down, I couldn't help feeling a little shy and uncomfortable. In the room, when Xiao Miao Miao saw that her mother had not come yet, she moved her little ace to the edge of the bed and stretched her little feet tentatively under the bed, wanting to get out of bed and find her mother. But she was too small after all, and her short legs couldn't reach the bottom no matter how hard she tried. Unable to go down or up, Xiao Miao Miao panicked and started crying even louder. When Lin Wanshu returned to the room, she saw a little kid crying and hanging by the bed. It looked both pitiful and funny. Meow meow, mom is here, don't be afraid. While comforting the baby, Lin Wanshu quickly walked forward and rescued her. Finally seeing her mother, Xiao Miao Miao felt very aggrieved. Wow, mom, she cried hard as if she was frightened. Lin Wanshu comforted her with a smile. It's okay, mom is here. Don't get out of bed alone next time, okay? Qin Yan had just followed Lin Wanshu in. Seeing his daughter being frightened, he felt a little distressed. However, he did not intend to stop her from getting out of bed. Instead, he taught her how to get out safely. You can grab the quilt and come down so you won't get hurt. As he spoke, he carried the little guy to learn how to get out of bed. Lin Wanshu. It just means that you won't get hurt from falling, not that you won't fall. So, is this the fatherly love of a military father? Although she was worried that Xiao Miao Miao would fall, Lin Wanshu did not refute his educational methods. As long as it is not a matter of principle, she will not interfere. After all, children will grow up and leave you in the future. It might not be a bad thing to teach her how to deal with difficulties early on. Xiao Miao Miao was still very scared at first. After all, the shadow of hanging on the bed was still there. But with her father's patient encouragement, she slowly learned how to slide off the bed by grabbing the quilt. She fell on her ace at first, but after trying a few more times, she was able to land steadily on the ground. Lin Wanshu was extremely surprised. You are so awesome. How could they train such a tiny creature? Looking at her face full of admiration, Qin Yan's heart softened. Miao Miao is brave and a good candidate for the military. Lin Wanshu. Can she take back what she just said? The rice porridge had been dried just now. Lin Wanshu opened the cover and directly brought the porridge to the little guy. Xiao Miao Miao has a strong personality. Ever since she stopped drinking milk and started eating porridge, she has been eating with a spoon by herself and refuses to let her mother feed her. Lin Wanshu did not stop him either. But every time she eats, she puts a plate under the bowl to prevent her from spilling food everywhere and wasting it. Although she has no shortage of these, wasting food is a very serious matter in this era. After all, everyone is still hungry. Won't you get scolded if you spread it everywhere? Children are ignorant, but don't adults understand either? The child can't eat by himself and the adults can't feed him? Lin Wanshu is a cautious person, so she would naturally not leave room for such talk. Xiao Miao Miao has just learned to eat, and her hands are not very obedient yet. Either the rice grains were splashed into the basin or scattered onto the bib. Lin Wanshu didn't care and discussed the dinner with Qin Yan. After all, his leg had healed, and as per custom, they had to prepare a warming meal and treat their comrades to a meal. Let's set it for this Sunday. I have to report back to the army on Monday. Originally, Qin Yan had a lot of vacation time, but there were a lot of things to do in the army, so he couldn't continue to rest with peace of mind. Lin Wanshu was mentally prepared for his return to the team, so she didn't feel disappointed. I started discussing grocery shopping with him again. The bicycle will be back tomorrow. If you want to go to the county town to buy one yourself, that's fine. If you don't want to go, just write a list and I'll ask the logistics staff to bring it to you. Let us go buy it ourselves. I want to buy something else as well. After all, she had to take some things out of the space occasionally. If she didn't go to the county, how would she explain these extra things? These are all trivial matters, so Qin Yan naturally has no objection. Lin Wanshu didn't do anything in the afternoon. She just processed and dried the herbs she picked in the morning. Qin Yan went up the mountain again and brought back 2 large bundles of firewood. The bundle of firewood was so big that Lin Wanshu estimated that one bundle was as big as 2 bundles in the morning. It's big, and it's tied tightly. Lin Wanshu suspected that this bundle weighed more than 100 kilograms, almost 200 kilograms, because the carrying pole was bent. And yet, he carried such heavy firewood with ease. It was as if what were being carried were not firewood, but 2 loads of cotton. Although she knew that her man was very strong, Lin Wanshu still felt numb when she saw what he did. Qin Yan piled the firewood in the corner of the house, and when he was ready to burn it, he just carried some back to the kitchen. This will save you from having too much firewood piled up in the kitchen that will be difficult to carry. Lin Wanshu quickly poured a glass of water. Drink some water and take a break. Although he didn't look tired, she still pulled him to sit on the stool and handed him the water. Enjoying her gentle and caring voice, Qin Yan felt warm in his heart. He was indeed thirsty, so he took the water and started drinking it. As soon as he finished drinking, Lin Wanshu poured him another glass. He drank 3 cups in a row before stopping. Xiao Miaomiao is not at home. She went to play with Xiao Jianxi next door. This is a family compound, and Lin Wanshu is not afraid that she'll get lost, so she just leaves her alone. After drinking the water, Qin Yan continued to make a small bed for Xiao Miaomiao. He worked quickly and had already whittled half of the required wood yesterday. Cut the other half today, polish it tomorrow, and then assemble it. Maybe it was because Xiao Miaomiao's wooden bed hadn't been installed yet, but the man was still very obedient that night. Apart from hugging her, he didn't do anything else. But after all, they had been intimate during the day, and no matter how honest you are, it will never be the same as before. Although both of them were quiet and motionless, there seemed to be an invisible restlessness flowing in the air. With her head resting on the man's strong shoulder and listening to his unsteady breathing, Lin Wanshu couldn't fall asleep. But there was a little kid lying next to her, so she didn't dare to tease him. Especially when she thought of his terrifying fighting power on their wedding night, she dared not act rashly. She was lost in thought for an unknown amount of time before she finally fell into a drowsy sleep. Hearing the woman's even and long breathing, Qin Yan slowly opened his eyes. The room was pitch black, but he found that the darkness seemed to affect his vision less and less. Although his eyesight was very good before, it was far from as good as it is now. Especially after drinking that bowl of rice soup during the day, Qin Yan felt that his 5 senses seemed to have become stronger. Such extraordinary means made him shudder with fear, and at the same time, he felt an indescribable panic. Although he restrained himself from prying into her secret, Qin Yan felt uneasy. How afraid he was that one day when he woke up, she would disappear. Holding the person tightly, Qin Yan suffered from insomnia again. It was not until the early morning that he closed his eyes in a daze. He had just closed his eyes when the next second, the scene that was interrupted during the day appeared in his mind again. And this time, there was one more person in the picture. Seeing Zhao Mingyuan still wearing his wedding clothes, Qin Yan's eyes suddenly darkened. This scene has appeared for the 3rd time, and it is really torture for him. But Qin Yan refused to look away. He just stared at the 2 of them, as if to torture himself. Zhao Mingyuan was probably drunk and was staggering as he walked. Qin Yan stared at him intently, watching him walk step by step towards the bed where Lin Wanshu was lying. However, what happened next was somewhat beyond his expectations. Zhao Mingyuan, who was lying on the bed, not only did not do anything, but he also pulled away the quilt covering Lin Wanshu. Qin Yan was a little shocked. Could it be that Zhao Mingyuan was drunk? But no matter what, he still breathed a sigh of relief. Just looking at Lin Wanshu curled up alone, he couldn't help but feel distressed. It's still winter. Is Zhao Mingyuan still a man? He even snatches a woman's quilt. Qin Yan wanted to pull the quilt over to cover Lin Wanshu, but the content in the picture was still out of his control, and Qin Yan could only watch her shivering with cold. This happened for 2 or 3 nights in a row. As soon as Zhao Mingyuan came back, he lay down on the bed and had no intention of touching Lin Wanshu at all. Fortunately, Lin Wanshu found a quilt for herself, so she didn't get cold at night again. But such strange days did not last long, and Qin Yan discovered a shocking secret. It turns out that Zhao Mingyuan actually likes men. Or the one who is on the bottom. No wonder he never touched Lin Wanshu. This discovery made Qin Yan feel mixed emotions. I don't know whether I was relieved or felt sorry for her going through such a thing. But what happened next almost made him go berserk. Zhao Mingyuan's mistress wants to touch Lin Wanshu? After hearing their secret conspiracy, Qin Yan wished he had a gun in his hand so he could kill the 2 men on the spot. How dare they? But it turns out that not only did they dare, they actually did it. The 2 agreed that Wang Yongsheng would complete the house purchase on behalf of Zhao Mingyuan when it got dark. Upon hearing the 2 people's shameless plan, Qin Yan was immediately engulfed by raging rage. We can't let them succeed. I don't know if it's because his telekinesis is too strong. Wang Yongsheng broke his leg outside before he even entered the Lin Zhao family's yard. This happened several times afterwards. Every time Wang Yongsheng wanted to touch Lin Wanshu, something unexpected would happen. Either being bitten by a snake or being gored by a bull. He choked on the food he was eating and choked on the water he was drinking. After nearly drowning in the water for the last time, he finally realized something was wrong. Zhao Mingyuan, why is the woman you married so evil? She almost killed me. Wang Yongsheng cursed in shock. Although Zhao Mingyuan also had doubts in his heart, he did not agree with Wang Yongsheng's proposal. That woman is so beautiful. If he really wants to sleep with her, what role does he have? Now that he couldn't sleep, he felt so happy. Although it's a bit regrettable that I don't have a son, but with my current condition, there's no point in having one. If I grow up to be like me, wouldn't it be all in vain? Thinking of this, he patiently coaxed Wang Yongsheng again. He must give up the idea of sleeping with Lin Wanshu. Wang Yongsheng didn't give up, but he couldn't get close to her at all. Even if he met him in the wild, if he tried to do anything, he would be in big trouble. In the end, Wang Yongsheng had to give up completely. This woman is pretty, but she is also really weird. But he couldn't mention anything about ghosts unless he was tired of living. These days, we are fighting against feudalism and superstition. Who would dare to do this? Qin Yan, who had been guarding Lin Wanshu, finally figured out what was going on with him. It turns out that this is what really happened in my previous life. He was not rescued in his previous life and died in the hospital. But he had an obsession in his heart, so he followed Lin Wanshu unconsciously. He watched helplessly as she was schemed into marrying Zhao Mingyuan and watched helplessly as she was tortured by her mother-in-law, but he could do nothing about it. It was not until Wang Yongsheng tried to lay his hands on her that Qin Yan suddenly felt a surge of power from nowhere. Relying on this power, he scared Wang Yongsheng away and then stayed by her side silently, watching her work hard to make food and sell it in town. She was so beautiful that Qin Yan didn't know how many people who wanted her he had driven away along the way. She was so capable that she made a lot of money in just a few years and even opened a factory.
She was still so naive.
She married an inhuman man, but she thought she was infertile and gave up the factory. Qin Yan felt distressed and angry. But he could only protect her from being bullied, but he couldn't take the initiative to deal with people who didn't pose a direct threat to her. Qin Yan's obsession never faded, so he stayed by her side the whole time. Until one day, she was almost hit by a car. Qin Yan just pushed Lin Wanshu away and suddenly felt a strange energy on her wrist. But before he could figure out what that energy was, everything went black. He knew nothing. The picture suddenly stopped. Qin Yan also opened his eyes suddenly. At the same time, Lin Wanshu next to her also sat up suddenly.
Wan.
Seeing her like this, Qin Yan no longer cared about what was in his dream and quickly sat up. Lin Wanshu was gasping for air, with astonishment written all over her eyes. "What's wrong? Did you have a nightmare?" Holding her shoulders with both hands, Qin Yan asked anxiously. Hearing his voice, Lin Wanshu's eyes finally focused. She stared at the person in front of her in shock. It turns out, in her previous life, she wasn't extremely lucky to run her business smoothly, but he was protecting her all the time. Recalling those strange and inexplicable things, Lin Wanshu's vision unconsciously became blurred. Qin Yan was shocked to see her crying. He held the person in his lap and said with a distressed look on his face, "Don't cry, I'm here. Dreams are all fake." But when Lin Wanshu heard this, her tears became more and more uncontrollable. She saw it all in her dreams. No wonder when she recalled it later, it seemed that Wang Yongxing always looked at her with ill intentions, but he never took any action. Everyone in the village said he was possessed by an evil spirit. Now that I think about it, wasn't he possessed by an evil spirit? No wonder she felt like someone was following her several times, but in the end there was no follow-up for unknown reasons. It turns out that this man has been protecting himself silently. When she thought of this, Lin Wanshu felt even more heartbroken. He was still thinking about her until his death, but she knew nothing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't know you were always by my side." Although it was not her fault that she did not receive the letter, she could not help feeling heartbroken when she thought that no one knew about his deep love for her. Hearing this, Qin Yan couldn't help but hold his breath.
Wan.
Wan, did you dream about something just now? Did she have the same dream as me?" Lin Wanshu did not hide anything and told him everything she saw in her dream. Not only that, she also talked about her rebirth. After hearing her words, Qin Yan's mind went blank. It is true. He died in his previous life, and she married Zhao Mingyuan. Thinking of all the suffering she had endured in her previous life, Qin Yan suddenly felt extremely distressed. "Wife, it's okay. It's all over." Holding her in his arms, he patted her back gently and whispered soothing words. Being coaxed by him so gently, Lin Wanshu couldn't help but think of the soul that had been guarding her alone in the previous life. Originally, she had some concerns during the day, fearing that people's hearts would change easily, and she did not dare to completely expose her space. But at this moment, she completely let down her guard. What else is there for her to be on guard against, when someone is willing to protect her even after death? "Ian, let me show you something." Hearing this, Qin Yan's eyebrows jumped. He realized immediately that she was going to tell him her secret. Wan, don't." Qin Yan spoke anxiously. But before he could finish his words, he felt dizzy, and the next second, the two of them appeared in a dreamlike place. Looking at the fairyland-like scenery in front of him, Qin Yan's eyes were full of shock. "What's going on?" He held her hand tightly, his voice trembling. Lin Wanshu didn't say anything. She took his hand and walked into the wooden house with one thought. Qin Yan felt numb when he saw the endless supplies in front of him. What kind of wife did he marry? Where did these come from? Looking at the rows of weapons on the shelves that he had never seen before, Qin Yan took a deep breath and asked calmly. "I bought it, and I made a lot of money from it later." Lin Wanshu knew that he disappeared when she opened the space, so she explained to him. "You can't buy these in China, but you can buy them easily abroad." She thought that she might need it for self-defense someday, so she just bought it. But she didn't need to use them normally. A silenced tranquilizer gun was enough to protect herself. Seeing that his eyes were glued to those weapons, not moving at all, Lin Wanshu asked, "Do you want to see it?" "May I?" Qin Yan's voice was a little hoarse. As a soldier, how could he not be tempted by weapons that are clearly 2 generations ahead of current ones? Lin Wanshu didn't waste any time and directly took down the rifle he had been staring at. The rifle was very heavy, but this was her space, and these things were under her control, so it wasn't difficult for her to pick it up. After Qin Yan took the new rifle and looked at it for a while, he walked out of the wooden house and took a look into the distance. He found that the weapon actually used thermal imaging technology. How great would it be if they had such weapons on the battlefield? Seeing him flipping through it with great interest, Lin Wanshu introduced, "This is Soviet-style equipment." After the collapse of the Soviet Union, Mao sold all the weapons in his family. "I bought it on the black market." Our Chinese-style equipment also developed well later, but it is no longer available. After the crushing war in America in 1991, the country was completely awakened and began to focus on catching up with equipment. Although Lin Wanshu was not an insider and did not know much, she still knew more information than ordinary people. Qin Yan was shocked when he heard her talk about the subsequent international situation. The Russian bear is such a huge monster. Can it just disintegrate like that? It seems that their international environment is more dangerous than they imagined. Thinking of this, Qin Yan became more and more eager to return to the army, especially the war that was going to break out in a few years. There was no way he would let his soldiers suffer the same loss as in his previous life. Although he died early and did not participate in this battle, he had been with Lin Wanshu for so many years and naturally knew a lot of information in this regard. It's a pity that these weapons cannot be released, otherwise the country's weapons research would be much faster. After looking at it for a while, Qin Yan put the weapon back on the shelf. As if she saw his regret, Lin Wanshu took out a stack of information from her bookshelf. "Do you think this will help?" When the Mao Xiong family split up, Heir Mao got a lot of good things, but he sold them all. Lin Wanshu also got this information by accident. It was also thanks to the space she had, otherwise she wouldn't have been able to take these things away. Lin Wanshu originally just wanted to buy some weapons to put in the space for self-defense, but she didn't expect her Mao to sell so many good things. She simply accepted them all. She thought that if the world were to become turbulent again someday, she would not be without the ability to protect herself. After Qin Yan finished reading the information in his hand, he was already extremely excited. If people from their military research institute saw this thing, they would probably go crazy. But after the excitement, Qin Yan quickly calmed down. After a pause, he handed the information back to her with some difficulty. "Please put this away." Lin Wanshu blinked, her eyes full of surprise. She thought that with his awareness, he would definitely find a way to hand over the information, but she didn't expect that he would actually return it to her. Qin Yan understood her surprise and couldn't help feeling helpless. This thing is too advanced to be shown. Since they were able to remain safe and sound after the collapse of the Soviet Union, Qin Yan was confident that the country could overcome the difficulties. He couldn't let her take such a big risk and produce information that obviously shouldn't be here. After hearing these words, it would be a lie for Lin Wanshu to say she wasn't moved. No one can resist this kind of pampering of being put first in everything. Thinking of his daily protection in her previous life, Lin Wanshu's heart suddenly softened like a pool of water. If there is a suitable opportunity, I still hope to hand over this information to the country. She is not a soldier, and in fact does not have such a strong sense of patriotism as he does. But she knew how deep his love for the country was. Otherwise, he would not have rushed to the front line without hesitation, and would not have retreated even if he knew he might sacrifice himself. He was willing to keep her secret for her safety, and Lin Wanshu naturally wanted to fulfill his patriotism. Her emotions were so strong. How could Qin Yan not sense it? It was precisely because he understood what she meant that his heart was shocked for a long time. Wan. Unable to hold back, he hugged her into his arms. How can she be so nice? She was so good that he didn't know how to love her. He was afraid of dropping her if he held her in his hands, and afraid of her melting if he held her in his mouth. Being hugged by him so passionately, Lin Wanshu felt indescribably satisfied and grateful. Fortunately, they did not miss each other in this life. After the two of them finished touring the wooden house, Lin Wanshu took him to the spiritual spring. "Yesterday, I used this spiritual spring water to detoxify you." Hearing that she only gave him 3 drops and had such an amazing effect, Qin Yan didn't know what to say. "These things my wife did were too outrageous." It was so outrageous that he was already beginning to feel a little scared. I dare not imagine what kind of covetousness would be attracted if even a little bit of the stuff were leaked. 1. Don't let anyone use this spiritual spring water casually in the future. As he spoke, he told Lin Wanshu in detail about the changes that happened to him after drinking the spiritual spring water. Lin Wanshu. No wonder he had such a strange reaction the first time he took the medicine. It turned out to be because he drank the chicken soup mixed with Lingquan water. Also, why did his five senses become enhanced and his strength become greater after drinking the spiritual spring water, while I drank so much but was only a little healthier than the average person? Could he be the one who cheated? Lin Wanshu was extremely dissatisfied. Qin Yan didn't expect that the friendship would capsize so quickly. He felt helpless and a little amused. Scratching her nose, he teased her. Maybe it's because of my intense training and good physique. How about I take you for a 5-kilometer run this morning? Maybe you can achieve the same effect by then. Lin Wanshu. Forget it. If she is asked to run 5 kilometers, she would rather open up an acre of land. At the very least, it can bloom, and you can plant things. I won't train anymore.
I have you anyway.
He looked like he would protect himself. If worst comes to worst, she still has the space.
There are so many deadly weapons in the space.
If she is really in desperate situation, she can still enter the space. Anyway, don't even think about asking her to run 5 kilometers. Seeing her indifferent expression, Qin Yan was amused again. How come he didn't know she had this side? Qin Yan enjoyed it very much looking at the woman's dependent look. But he decided to teach her some self-defense skills. Apart from anything else, he had to check her proficiency in handling these guns. Don't wait until the critical moment, it will be bad if you slip up. When Lin Wanshu heard that he wanted to teach her how to use a gun personally, her eyes suddenly lit up. That's what you said. I'm counting on you from now on. He didn't mention anything he had practiced in his previous life. Perhaps because all the secrets had been revealed, Lin Wanshu felt indescribably relieved. There was also a hint of playfulness on her face that was not there before. She was so lively that Qin Yan couldn't take his eyes off her. Okay, leave it to me. The deep voice with a smile was full of doting. The two did not stay in the space for long, because it was already dawn. The couple had just come out of the space when Xiao Miao Miao woke up. Seeing a figure, she rubbed her eyes and shouted in a daze. Mom, I am the father. When he heard it was his father, the little guy immediately turned around and stretched out his hand towards Lin Wanshu. Mom, the look of turning away without any reluctance made Qin Yan somewhat depressed. She may not be awake yet. Unable to bear seeing her man so lost, Lin Wanshu comforted him. But just as she finished saying this, she saw the little guy moving around with the quilt in his arms and moving to the edge of the bed. With the help of the quilt, she slid off the bed. Qin Yan. Lin Wanshu. After her consolation failed, she asked again, Do you want to rest for a while? I don't know when he fell asleep last night, and there are some faint dark circles under his eyes. Qin Yan shook his head. No, I can't sleep now. I'll go water the vegetables later. He is the one who has been watering the vegetable garden these 2 days. When Xiao Miao Miao heard that her father was going to the vegetable garden, she hurried to put on her little shoes. Miao Miao Go Lin Wanshu couldn't help laughing when she saw her wearing the shoes backwards. Miao Miao, your shoes are inside out. Xiao Miao Miao didn't understand what the word anti meant. She was so proud that her 2 little feet had successfully put on the shoes. Lin Wanshu smiled and shook her head, then helped her put her shoes back on. This is the right way to wear it. Little Miao Miao blinked her big eyes, looked down at her feet, with a confused look on her face. Qin Yan looked at the 2 similar faces in front of him, one big and one small, and his heart suddenly softened. It's great that she married him in this life. They also have a lovely daughter. Come on, Dad will take you to brush your teeth, and then we will go water the vegetables together. Qin Yan also put on his shoes and picked up the little guy. But when the little baby heard that he needed to brush his teeth, his face wrinkled into a bun.
Whis.
She refused vaguely. Immediately, he was slapped on the little ace by his mother. If you don't brush your teeth, bugs will eat them away. Although she only had 8 teeth in total, Lin Wanshu still insisted on letting her learn how to brush her teeth. Little Miao Miao couldn't get away from the 2 adults and was finally forced to brush her teeth by the water tank. At the same time, The small building in the side yard also poked its head out from the fence. Sister, are you up? Xiao Miao was still being forced by her mother to brush her teeth. When she heard Xiao Jianxi's words, she quickly spit out the water in her mouth and shouted to him, Guoguo, help me. The cry for help from his sister made Xiao Jianxi suddenly burst with masculinity. Wait for it, sister. I'll be there soon. As he said this, he ran towards the door.
Hey.
Feng Jianxi, where are you going? Yu Fangfang was carrying a shoulder bag and a water bottle, and she stood with her hands on her hips and yelled at her son. Although he was only 5 years old, there was a kindergarten in the army, so she sent him to school. Hearing his mother's lion roar, Feng Jianxi froze and took his foot back halfway. I just want to find my sister. He was not afraid of his mother, but he was afraid that her voice would be too loud and would attract his father and give him a beating. Yu Fangfang. She spoke as if she didn't want to go play with Wanwan. She doesn't want to go to this class for even a day. You're going to be late for school. Go back and carry your school bag. Yu Fangfang rolled her eyes to the sky. If she can't go play with Wanwan, then he can forget about going to play with Xiao Miao. Upon hearing this, Xiao Jianxi's face suddenly fell. He just wants to play with his sister. Why is it so difficult? Xiao Jianxi failed to find a sister in the end. Fortunately, the two brothers Shen Xiai and Shen Yu also had to go to school, which made him feel somewhat comforted. After Lin Wanshu and her family of 3 finished washing up, they went out together again. Qin Yan carried 2 buckets of water, while Lin Wanshu carried a bucket of clothes. Xiao Miao was not empty-handed either, holding a small cage containing crickets. The cage was the one given to her by Shen Xiai. She treasured it so much that she took it with her wherever she went. I don't know how many generations of crickets have been replaced in the cage. They were usually caught for her by Shen Xiai when he came back from school. Here, a family of 3 walked towards the back door of the family compound, talking and laughing all the way. It was mainly Lin Wanshu who was talking and Qin Yan who was responding. Xiao Miao would occasionally say something, but she spoke in baby language, and the couple couldn't understand. On the other hand, the Zhou family was shrouded in a low atmosphere. Huang Fengming looked at the basket in her room, from which several eggs were obviously missing, with a gloomy look in her eyes. Where are the eggs in my basket? Why are there so many fewer? Huindi spat out a date pit. After hearing this, she glanced at the basket and pouted her lips and said, How should I know? Maybe those money-losing guys of yours stole it. Dia looked at her grandmother's face full of flesh and her small body couldn't help shivering, but she insisted on staying by the bed, as if she was afraid that she would suddenly hit her mother again. Huang Fengming, who was blocked behind her, couldn't stop feeling uncomfortable. Why would such a good child be born into such a family? She didn't deserve this. Thinking of this, she glared at Huindi angrily. They are not money-losing goods, they have names. Huindi was also unhappy when she heard this. You gave birth to a few money-losing babies, and you're not allowed to say anything? Huang Fengming smiled coldly and said, I was pregnant with a boy, but unfortunately someone killed him. Some people are born without grandchildren. Who can I blame? The grandson whom she had no chance to meet was a thorn in Huindi's heart. Hearing that she dared to say that, I immediately got furious. You useless little witch. You can't even protect my precious grandson. And you still have the nerve to say that? I think you shouldn't eat these eggs. As she said this, she glared at her viciously, then reached out and picked up the basket of eggs on the table. She originally thought that she had taken too few eggs just now, so she planned to come over to get a few more. Huindi felt a sharp pain in her heart when she thought about having to eat so many eggs. Now is the perfect opportunity to get angry and take all the baskets away. Don't leave any for her. Seeing that she dared to her eggs, Huang Fengming was so angry that her whole body trembled. Put it down. Bah. I won't let go. What can you do to me? If there hadn't been a few military wives helping her yesterday, how could Huindi have been led by the nose? There is no one at home now, and the little witch just had surgery on her stomach. Huindi is not worried at all that she will cause any trouble. Huang Fengming laughed out of anger. Not very good. I've asked someone to send that bowl of egg soup for testing. If the test shows that there's something in it, don't blame me for being ruthless then. Sending it for testing was of course a lie. Huang Fengying just cheated her because she was uneducated. Sure enough, as soon as she finished saying this, she saw Hu Yindi's face change. What do you mean? You have a good life, but you insist on doing this. What good will it do for you to ruin Tianju's work? Huang Fengying felt that she had never heard such ridiculous words in her life. With a sarcastic smile on her face, she looked up and down at the fat and plump Hu Yindi, paused, and then said, "He has a job, so what good do I get? I have nothing to eat and nothing to wear. Every time I open my eyes, I have endless work to do. Even when I was pregnant and gave birth, I didn't have a single day off. This overwhelming blessing is given to you. Do you want it?" These merciless words made Hu Yindi's face turn blue and red.
You.
What kind are you talking about? How can there be a wife who doesn't work? Aren't women in the production team still working in the fields even when they are about to give birth? She's just being pretentious and can't do her job, right? Huang Fengying rolled her eyes to the sky. There are people who die at the age of 40 or 50. Why don't you just die? Hu Yindi didn't expect that she would dare to scold her like that. She was both angry and furious. What a rebellion! How dare you, you disloyal and unfilial witch! Curse me. I'm going to ask my son to divorce you today. But when she heard her threat, there was not a trace of fear on Huang Fengying's face. Instead, he said with a mocking look on his face, "Go ahead, go and ask him to divorce me now, so that I can report the situation to the army later. Anyway, I'm not having a good life, so let's just not live together." At the end, her voice was resolute and fierce. Huang Fengying always gave people the impression of being cowardly and timid. Hu Yindi had never seen her act so crazy before and was immediately frightened. "You're crazy, you crazy woman," she murmured while covering her chest. Huang Fengying sneered coldly, took out a knife from under the pillow, and slowly trimmed her long nails. "I'm crazy, so I don't want to repeat it so many times. Put the basket down for me, and return the eggs you just took away." When Hu Yindi saw the knife in her hand, she immediately broke out in a cold sweat. Why would she put a knife under her pillow? What did she want to do? "I'm telling you, don't mess around." Hu Yindi didn't want to put back the eggs she had snatched with great difficulty. But seeing that she looked like a madman, she didn't dare to bet whether she would suddenly explode. Finally, he reluctantly put the basket back on the table. "And those who took it away, return it to me." Huang Fengying spoke in a calm voice, but it gave people a creepy feeling for no reason. How could Hu Yindi dare to say no? "Return it back." "Can't I just return it to you? What a sin. Why did the Zhou family marry such a crazy woman? Wouldn't it be better if you had known this earlier?" Seeing that she gave in so easily, Huang Fengying felt happy, but also a little sad. Such an uneducated and ignorant person, yet I have been bullied by her for so many years. She is so useless. Ignoring her extremely ugly face, Huang Fengying continued, "Now go make me some egg soup. Don't make it too salty or too bland, and don't even think about spitting in it. I have a test that can detect it. I want to see the egg soup in 20 minutes. After hearing this, Hu Yindi almost died of anger on the spot. She actually ordered me to do that? How dare you? Hu Yindi wanted to scold her for dreaming, so how could she possibly cook egg soup for her again? But after meeting her cold and crazy eyes, she couldn't help but shudder. "I cook. Isn't it okay for me to cook?" After stumbling over her words, Hu Yindi didn't dare to stay any longer and ran away. Crazy woman, this crazy woman. She must make her son divorce her and drive her out. Daya was shocked to see that her usually domineering and overbearing grandmother was scared away. Her mother actually drove her grandmother away? In the past, Daya would never have dared to even think about this, but it happened today. And Mom does what she says. She really protects them well. Daya's eyes were wet again.
Mom,
will she really cook egg soup for you? Or I should go. There is a hole in Mom's stomach, so she needs to eat more nutritious food so that she can get better quickly. At this moment, Daya was eager to recover soon. Huang Fengying had already put the knife back in place. She touched Daya's head and said gently, "She will cook it. We just need to wait. Hu Indi is uneducated and arrogant, but Zhou Tianzhu is her lifeline. As long as you grasp this point, you don't have to worry about her not being obedient. Sure enough, Hu Indi not only cooked egg soup, but also, under her threat, served a bowl of thick sweet potato porridge to Dia and the other two. Hu Indi was so confused by Huang Fengming's instructions that she was fuming with anger. After cursing Huang Fengming countless times, she finally waited for her son to come back. As soon as she saw him, Hu Indi burst into tears out of grievance. Son, you're finally back. If you hadn't come back, I would have been tortured to death by your evil wife. Zhou Tianzhu had never seen his mother cry like this before. He was immediately shocked. What's going on? How did Fengming give it to you? Naturally, Hu Indi started to pick on Huang Fengming and made up a story. Zhou Tianzhu was extremely furious when he heard that Huang Fengming had actually ordered his mother around in order to satisfy her own appetite. Wait a minute, I'll go talk to her. After saying this, Zhou Tianzhu walked into the house angrily. In the room, Huang Fengming was drinking the millet porridge she cooked. When she heard Zhou Tianzhu coming in, she ignored him and continued eating her own food. Seeing her like this, Zhou Tianzhu became even angrier. Huang Fengming, how could you do this to my mother? Hearing this, Huang Fengming slowly raised her eyelids and gave him a lukewarm look. What did I do to her? Wasn't it her fault that I got stabbed in the stomach? I'm in confinement now, and as a mother-in-law, isn't it her responsibility to take care of me? Hearing this, Zhou Tianzhu was speechless. That was true, but he still felt heartbroken when he saw his mother's pitiful appearance. Let the past be the past. What's the point of bringing it up all the time? Although she already knew what kind of person this man was, Huang Fengming was still chilled to the bone when she heard these words. You didn't conceive the child, and you didn't perform the operation on him, so of course you can talk without any worries. But he was in my belly for more than 8 months, and he's gone just like that. Tell me, how can I get over this? Zhou Tianzhu was also heartbroken because his son had passed away. But he is a man after all, and he thinks about problems more rationally. If the child is gone, she can get pregnant again, but his mother cannot bear the crime of killing her grandson for the rest of her life. Thinking of this, he sighed heavily and then softened his voice and said, It wasn't easy for my mom to raise me. Can't you be considerate of her for my sake when she did something wrong? They are indeed mother and son. They are exactly the same when it comes to being funny. Huang Fengming was almost laughing because of him. It's your business that it wasn't easy for her to raise you, but she didn't raise me. Why should I be considerate of someone who killed my son? Is it because you have a thick face? Zhou Tianzhu didn't expect her to say that, and he didn't react for a long time. How did you become like this?
He said with some sorrow.
Huang Fengming's lips curled up into a smile, but her eyes were cold. What has become of me? At this moment, her hair was still messy. Due to the confinement period, she couldn't take a shower, and there was an indescribable smell on her body. Zhou Tianzhu couldn't help but frown, with disappointment and a hint of barely perceptible disdain in his eyes. You are a high school graduate, but now you look like a witch. Where did you study? Huang Fengming laughed. If she wasn't afraid of tearing the wound on her stomach, she would have laughed out loud. Yes, I have changed, but isn't this all because of you? Wasn't she gentle enough, not virtuous enough in the past? But what kind of life did she get in return? Where were you when I had to go to work in the fields just 2 days after giving birth? Where were you when I had to take care of 3 children and run the household affairs by myself? Did you ever help me at all? What qualifications do you have to blame me? If I hadn't married you, I would have lived a life worse than a dog's. Hearing this, Zhou Tianzhu's face looked very ugly.
Don't say such harsh words.
Which woman doesn't give birth to a child? Which woman doesn't take care of a child? Why don't other people have as many problems as you? Isn't it natural for a woman to give birth to and take care of children? As for housework, if she doesn't do it, why should his mother do it? He is so old. What if he sprains his waist? That man has achieved the rank of battalion commander at such a young age. But what about you? You are so old and still only a company commander. Why aren't you as capable as other men? These words directly hit Zhou Tianzhu's lungs. There are many talented people in the army, but his ability is not outstanding. After so many years, he was barely promoted to the rank of company commander. I'm getting older now. If I can't get promoted, I'll have to transfer to civilian work or retire soon. Zhou Tianzhu was so anxious now and was mocked by her. He was so angry that his face turned black. But he couldn't possibly beat her up. Finally, he could only say angrily, "You are totally unreasonable." After saying this, he left angrily again. Looking at his back that was about to smoke with anger, Huang Fengying felt extremely refreshed. She has been suppressing herself too much over the years. Now she doesn't want to endure it anymore. She will kill anyone who provokes her. When Hu Yindi saw that her son was also scolded, she was so angry that she trembled. She sat on the ground with her buttocks down, slapping her thighs and howling.
What a sin! What a sin!
How could our Zhou family marry such a tyrannical daughter-in-law? Not only does she insult her mother-in-law, but now she even dares to insult men. We can't live like this anymore. Her howling had a long tail, and it sounded like she was singing an opera, with all kinds of nasty curses being thrown at her. After a while, many military wives came outside the yard. What is Hu Yindi doing again? Someone asked curiously. Who knows? Huang Fengying was pushed into premature labor by her, and she couldn't even keep the baby. How can she still have the nerve to cry? In our brigade, if any mother-in-law did something so ruthless, she would be criticized for her crimes. But she is not like that. She is acting like nothing happened. I just saw her secretly eating eggs. Everyone was talking at once, and the voices full of contempt showed no sign of lowering their voices. Who in the entire residential compound doesn't know who Hu Yindi is? Now hearing her howling, everyone subconsciously thought that she was going to torment Huang Fengying again. After all, Huang Fengying gave people the impression of being too weak, and no one believed that she would be that kind of person who was arrogant and unreasonable. Zhou Tianzhu, who had just walked into the kitchen, heard the discussions outside, and his face turned purple. Afraid that if these military wives continued to talk, their family would lose face, Zhou Tianzhu hurried out. Mom, please stop crying. As he spoke, he reached out to pull Hu Yindi up. But Hu Yindi was so irritated that she just wanted to curse Huang Fengying to death. So, how could she listen to him? Let me go. I'm going to let everyone know what kind of person Huang Fengying is today. How can a daughter-in-law order her mother-in-law around? She even dared to scare me with a knife. However, to Hu Yindi's surprise, after hearing her scolding, the military wives looked at her with even more strange expressions. She pushed my daughter-in-law into surgery, and she is still in confinement after giving birth. If she doesn't take care of her, who will? That's right. Who is it that said Huang Fengying was pregnant, and it was inconvenient for her to take care of her daughter-in-law, but she ended up taking care of her like this? She lost her job and had to work in the fields every day with a big belly. Her daughters were as thin as refugees. With all the immoral things she has done, who would believe that Huang Fengying could make her go around in circles? Not to mention threatening her with a knife. If Huang Fengying was so powerful, why would he be bullied so badly by her? After all her crying, not only did no one believe her, but the military wives looked down on her even more. Captain Zhou, you can't just focus on the army, you have to do your work at home as well. Fong Bailey gave a sincere piece of advice. I feel that if this matter continues, the army will definitely not sit idly by. Although she likes to show off her 4 major items, she is not stupid and knows what can be done and what cannot be done. Zhou Tianzhu knew this truth very well. The news that his mother pushed Huang Fengying into premature birth a few days ago had already spread to the army. He came back today with the intention of persuading Huang Fengying to take responsibility for the premature birth and say that she fell accidentally. This way, even if the army did not believe it, they would turn a blind eye. After all, if the people don't report it, the officials won't investigate it, so it's enough to save face. But he never expected that he and Huang Fengying parted on bad terms before they could even start talking. Now his mother is still making such an ugly scene. Zhou Tianzhu is so anxious that his mouth is about to bubble. Fong Bailey meant well, but to Hu Yindi's ears, Her words seemed like helping Huang Fengying to humiliate her. Don't think I don't know that you and that which are in cahoots. It's not your turn to comment on what's going on in our family. Hearing this, Fong Bailey's face turned a little grim. My kindness is taken for granted. Captain Zhou, you better take care of yourself. After saying that, she left angrily. Hu Yindi thought she had been scolded and ran away, and she felt indescribably relieved. When she caught her, she scolded her again. When Zhou Tianju saw his mother acting unreasonable, he almost choked on blood.
Mom.
Stop talking. Does she really want to offend everyone in the family compound before she is satisfied? You scolded me? Hu Yindi didn't expect that he would be so mean to her in front of so many people. Her face was full of disbelief. I'm your mother, and you're scolding me for a stranger? Zhou Tianju saw that she didn't seem to realize her mistake at all, and he suddenly felt powerless. But she is his mother. What can he do? Finally, he had to lower his voice and beg, Mom, let's talk about family matters in private. There are so many people watching, please give me some face. However, Hu Yindi was already immersed in the embarrassment of being scolded by her own son, so how could she listen to his advice? You also know that there are a lot of people here? Did you ever think about giving me face when you were being mean to me just now? She covered her heart with one hand and trembled with anger. Seeing her like this, Zhou Tianju suddenly regretted why he had let her stay in the family compound. The farce of the Zhou family soon spread throughout the family compound. As soon as Lin Wanshu returned home, she was caught by Wang Chunling and bitten in the ear. When Lin Wanshu heard that the mother and son had ended up arguing, she was not surprised at all. If Zhou Tianju had not been negligent, how could the current situation have occurred? If he had protected Huang Fengying a little more, Hu Yindi would not have dared to go so far. Now that I have gotten myself into such a state of panic, I can only say that it is all my own fault. A harmonious family is the foundation of all prosperity. If a man cannot even handle household affairs well, who would dare to entrust him with important tasks? She heard nothing of it, and instead talked about the Sunday greenhouse. Come here with your husband and children. Lin Wanshu has been here for some time and has gotten along well with several military wives. Wang Chunling and his wife must be invited. She also asked Qin Yan about this matter and knew who the specific people to be invited were. Wang Chunling did not refuse the invitation, but said happily, "That's great. My husband has been missing you ever since he ate your fried snails. I can't cook them as well." When Lin Wanshu wanted to stir-fry snails, no one took it seriously. After all, they had tried this dish before. Who would have thought that after she cooked it a few times, many people who ate it felt like a new world had opened up to them. No one expected that this muddy smell would turn out to be so delicious after some processing. Not only does his cooking taste delicious, he also doesn't keep his recipes to himself and teaches anyone who asks. Some time ago, military wives were catching snails almost every day. However, only a few people have truly learned her skills. After trying several times, many people gave up, and Wang Chunling was no exception. Now, seeing that Lin Wanshu had prepared so many snails to make a warming meal, how could she not be overjoyed?
But
Where did you catch these snails? Why are there so many? I see Yongzheng hasn't caught any snails in the past 2 days. It was a full bucket, and the pieces were neither too big nor too small. It's very pleasing to look at. My husband fished it out. I don't know where he got it from. I'll ask for you later. After she finished washing the clothes, she saw him coming back with a big bucket. Hearing this, Wang Chunling quickly shook her head. Forget it, I won't go get it. It's a waste if I have it in my hands. She doesn't have the skills, so she won't bother. Wang Chunling was just passing by and came to talk gossip with Lin Wanshu. Now that the gossip was over, after a few more small talk, she left. After everyone left, Lin Wanshu turned and walked towards the kitchen, planning to make lunch. Qin Yan was weaving a cage under the eaves at the moment, while Xiao Miao Miao was squatting on the ground, propping up her little head and watching attentively. No one knew where Qin Yan got the bamboo, but in a short while, he had broken the bamboo into strips. It was not enough to just break the bamboo strips. He also polished them carefully to make them look as smooth as possible. What are you making up? Lin Wanshu also squatted down next to Xiao Miaomiao out of curiosity to watch him weave. Qin Yan looked up at her, paused, and then said, "Make a small cage for Miao Miao to hold the grasshoppers." The one she had before was a bit crude. Hearing this, Lin Wanshu glanced at the little cage that her daughter treasured like nothing and suddenly fell silent again. Although this cage is simple, it looks small and cute. How can it be rough? He obviously doesn't like the fact that this cage was made by Shen Xiai, right? In the end, Lin Wanshu did not point out his little fatherly thoughts, but half-jokingly said, "I didn't know you had this skill." "No, you can't be so partial, and only do it for Miao Miao, and not for me. You have to weave a basket for me so I can put things in it." Seeing her jealous look, Qin Yan's heart suddenly felt like a kitten scratching it, and it was itchy. Not to mention weaving a basket for her, even if he was asked to weave a phoenix, he would have wanted to make one for her on the spot. "Okay, I'll make it for you later." Unable to help himself, he reached out and rubbed her little head, coaxing her. Xiao Miaomiao looked at her father, then at her mother, her eyes full of confusion. She blinked her big watery eyes, as if thinking about something, and then she stretched her little head in front of her father. Qin Yan's heart was all on his wife, and he just wanted to finish weaving the cage quickly so that he could weave a basket for her. Seeing that the little girl was blocking him, he said to her, "Miao Miao, squat better." Seeing that his father didn't touch his head, Xiao Miaomiao blinked, and his little face became more confused. In the end, not only did she not squat straight, she also stretched her little head in front of her father again. Not only that, she also struggled to grab her father's big hand and put it on her head. Seeing her like this, how could the couple not know what the little girl meant? With a bang, Lin Wanshu's face suddenly turned red. She glared at the man and said angrily, "It's all your fault. You didn't pay attention to the impact. This is just patting the head." What would happen if she learned other actions? But Lin Wanshu didn't know that her soft glare not only had no killing power, but also made the man's heart numb. "Well, it's my fault.
Next time,
I will be more careful." Lin Wanshu. Please be clear, what should I pay attention to next time? He was clearly talking about the act of touching the head, but why did it sound so ambiguous when he said it? Lin Wanshu's face turned even redder. She thought he might be acting like a hooligan, but she had no evidence. Finally, she got so angry that she pinched him. "You rascal." Lin Wanshu blushed and spat at him, then walked away. Qin Yan looked at the woman's shy and angry back and laughed softly. Xiao Miaomiao saw that she had put her father's hand on her head, but he still didn't touch it, so she suddenly became a little angry. Her little mouth was puffed up and she snorted and turned her head away. "Dad bad." Qin Yan. Qin Yan was so focused on the big things that he forgot about the small things. He felt a rare sense of guilt. Finally, he picked up the baby who was about to leave angrily and coaxed him patiently. Fortunately, Xiao Miaomiao has a short memory and was quickly coaxed into submission. The father and daughter continued to weave the cage. Xiao Miaomiao also wanted to help, so she picked up the bamboo strips and put them on the half-woven cage. But she was too small after all, and her hands and feet were not flexible. She swept the bamboo strips in her hands here and there and almost poked Qin Yan. In the end, he had no choice but to make up a story and give it to her to play with. The father and daughter were weaving a cage at the door while Lin Wanshu was making lunch in the kitchen. The yard is warm and cozy. As soon as Shen Shuwen entered the door, he saw his brother weaving a cage that was not much bigger than a palm, and he almost dropped his jaw in shock. Is this still the Qin Yan he knows? Qin Yan had heard his footsteps a long time ago. Seeing that he had been standing at the door without coming in, he raised his eyelids and asked, "What's the matter?" Shen Shuwen. "Listen, is this human language? Can't he come to him if nothing happens?" Hearing this, Qin Yan's expression suddenly became serious, and he took Shen Shuwen back to the reception room without bothering to make a cage. As soon as he entered the door, Shen Shuwen didn't waste any time and handed him the stack of information in his hand. "I now seriously suspect that the person who reported your wife may be the same person who intercepted your letter. There were many overlaps between the clues he checked last time and this time, which made it difficult for him not to suspect that it was Qin Yan's admirer who did it. After all, the excellence of his brother is obvious to all, and there are more than one or two people who have wanted to marry him over the years. However, those involved in the army naturally have to pay attention to conclusive evidence. They cannot wrongly accuse their comrades. Therefore, even if 80% of the evidence points to the same person, he can only use doubtful words. Qin Yan quickly read the information he handed to him and couldn't help but frown. It was indeed her. What are your plans? Shen Shuwen was filled with disgust for the person who was hiding in the dark and plotting against his brother. Who in the entire army doesn't know that Qin Yan has a sweetheart? The other didn't bother anymore after hearing this. But it's better for her to hide in the gutter and use all those shameful methods. It's just that her background is still a bit tricky after all. Before they are sure, if they take action rashly, they may not only fail to be fair, but also cause unnecessary trouble. This is why he was so anxious to come over to discuss it with him. Qin Yan had a plan since he knew that the person who reported his wife had a Beijing background. These days, besides recuperating from his injuries, he has not been idle. Shen Shuwen was not an outsider, and he did not hide his plans. After hearing what he said, Shen Shuwen suddenly felt happy. Old Qin, what a wonderful trick you have. After saying that, the two lowered their voices and discussed the next step in detail. After the negotiation was concluded, Shen Shuwen didn't stay long. After saying hello to Lin Wanshu, he left in a hurry. After Shen Shuwen left, Qin Yan quickly woven the cage for Miao Miao. After the cage was woven, he put the 3 grasshoppers he caught in the field into it before giving them to the little milkman. Xiao Miao Miao took over the new cage and immediately couldn't put it down. The cage that she carried everywhere she went was just put aside. Seeing that she had successfully forgotten the broken cage, Qin Yan was extremely satisfied. Miao Miao, this cage is old. Can Dad help you put it away? Although he didn't like those brats hanging around his daughter every day, Qin Yan wasn't the kind of person who would ruthlessly take away children's things and throw them away. Even if he doesn't like it anymore, he will find a place for her to keep it. Xiao Miao Miao is just a 1.5-year-old baby. With new toys, how can she still remember the old cage? She didn't even know what her father said, so she just played with the little cage she just got. Qin Yan successfully took away the unsightly cage, and his mood became happier. Seeing that his wife was still cooking, he continued to weave baskets. What Lin Wanshu wanted was a small basket. The bamboo strips were already made, so there was no need to break the bamboo again. He picked up the bamboo strips on the ground and started weaving again. It's just that this time it's obviously much slower than weaving a cage. The main thing is carefulness and patience. But his slowness is only relative. In fact, he is still much faster than ordinary people. After Lin Wanshu finished cooking, Qin Yan also finished weaving the basket. Lin Wanshu didn't expect him to move so fast. Taking over the freshly baked basket, her face was filled with surprise. Isn't this texture so pretty? Unlike ordinary horizontal stripes, the basket he knitted actually had vertical stripes. Not only does it look exquisite, it is also very sturdy in your hand. Lin Wanshu turned the basket over and over, looking like he couldn't put it down. Qin Yan is someone who has seen her space and knows that she lacks nothing. Even if she squanders the things in her space, she will never be able to use them all. After all, the neatly piled gold probably weighed 1 or 2 tons at a glance. But she was filled with joy because she had such a heaven-defying thing, because he wove a basket for her. How could he not be moved by this? If you like it, I'll make up something else for you next time. Hearing this, Lin Wanshu hesitated. You're going back to the army soon. Will you be very busy then? She naturally liked it. After all, he made it for her personally. However, Lin Wanshu had been with the army for a while, and she knew that they usually had heavy training tasks and were very busy. She was afraid that he would be tired from doing all this for her after training. Qin Yan couldn't help but laugh when he saw her tangled look. As long as it's your business, as long as I'm at home, I have time. Hearing this, Lin Wanshu's heart started to beat wildly, without any hope. Who taught him to talk like this? She can't bear it at all, okay? then I won't be polite to you. If he is willing to pamper himself, then she has no reason not to accept it. Accept his heart and respond to his love. They had missed it in their previous life, and she didn't want to deal with all the twists and turns. After carefully looking at the basket he had made for himself, Lin Wanshu took it back to the house like a treasure. He also gave a fierce warning to the daughter, who was following behind and staring at her with eager eyes. This is Mom's basket, you can't take it. Although Xiao Miao Miao is still young, she is very courageous. She dares to climb up on the stool and then on the table. Lin Wanshu was afraid that she would secretly play with it, so he started making ugly remarks. Qin Yan saw her rare childish look, and the smile in his eyes almost overflowed. Xiao Miao Miao really wanted to take her mother's basket and play with it. After being warned, she suddenly became unhappy and turned around angrily. She desperately wanted to find her father to support her. But she obviously found the wrong person. Qin Yan rubbed her little head and comforted. That's Mom's thing. You can't take it without Mom's permission. Dad will make another one for you. When Xiao Miao Miao saw that her father did not agree to let her take it, her little face became even more angry. His mouth was babbling even more, and he didn't know what he was talking about. It sounds a bit like a protest. Lin Wanshu couldn't stop laughing when he saw her fierce look. In the end, her conscience probably realized it, so she coaxed the little guy and said, Meow Meow, Mommy has steamed boiled eggs for you. Shall we go to eat? Xiao Miao Miao is really a little foodie. When she heard there was food, she didn't care about the basket anymore. He turned around and ran to the kitchen. Lin Wanshu. If I had known she was so easy to coax, I would have let her eat eggs in the kitchen. Let us go and have dinner. Shaking her head and laughing, she greeted Qin Yan and was about to walk out. But just as she walked up to the man, he grabbed her hand. Lin Wanshu's heart skipped a beat. Just when she was wondering what he was going to do, she heard the man's apologetic voice. Wan, I have to go out for something after dinner and may not be back for 2 or 3 days. Hearing this, Lin Wanshu, who had misunderstood, suddenly blushed. However, she did not lose the battle, so even though she felt embarrassed, Lin Wanshu nodded calmly. Okay, I understand.
Do you need me to prepare something?
Although she didn't know what he was going to do, since he would be away for 2 or 3 days, she shouldn't pack some things for him, right? Looking at the little woman in front of him, who looked embarrassed but still pretending to be calm, a smile appeared in Qin Yan's eyes. After a pause, he spoke slowly. There is indeed something I need your help with. What's up? Hearing that someone needed her help, Lin Wanshu didn't care about the discomfort in her heart and hurriedly asked. Just as she finished her words, the next second, she was hugged in that strong embrace. Then, the man's hot kiss came down. How could Lin Wanshu have thought that he would do this? Before I could react, I was surrounded by his refreshing breath. The man's strong and powerful arms were like 2 iron arms, locking her tightly in his arms. His kiss was domineering and passionate, without any trace of his usual coldness. But such passion made Lin Wanshu unable to resist. Her mind was as confused as paste, and soon she sank into the man's arms. I didn't even know when I was carried to the kitchen. When she realized that he was carrying her from the room to the kitchen in such a swagger, Lin Wanshu felt sick. How could you? How could you do this? There is no wall here, and although there are flowers and plants planted under the fence, they haven't grown up yet. Wouldn't it be bad if someone saw them? I heard no one passing by, don't worry. Qin Yan knew what the woman was thinking just by looking at her eyes. Not wanting to make her worry, he comforted her. Lin Wanshu. Is this the point? The point is that he, a man born in this era, is so reckless. Lin Wanshu couldn't help but doubt her life. However, what she didn't know was that Qin Yan didn't want to restrain himself anymore since he realized that it was because of his silence that she didn't know his feelings until her death in the previous life. If you like it, say it. He wanted to hug her, so he did. Besides, with his current 5 senses, he would definitely not let anyone see that there was something wrong with her. Knowing that he was incredibly overbearing in some aspects, Lin Wanshu finally did not try to protest. Besides, she didn't mind, she was just worried about being caught. Since he had extraordinary 5 senses, she no longer worried about it. Xiao Miao Miao had been waiting in the kitchen for quite a while. Seeing that her unscrupulous parents just came over, she pouted her little mouth for a long time. Seeing her daughter angry, Lin Wanshu felt a little embarrassed, which was unusual for her. Meow meow. Mom will bring you eggs now. As she said this, she was about to stand up. But Qin Yan pushed him back onto the stool. I'll go. Lin Wanshu. If he continues to spoil her like this, she suspects that sooner or later she will lose the ability to take care of herself. Such favoritism makes it difficult not to indulge in it. Fortunately, Lin Wanshu is not the kind of person who relies on being favored and becomes arrogant. Qin Yan went to bring the egg custard, and she picked up the bowl on the table that had just been washed to make porridge. Lin Wanshu rarely cooks sweet potato porridge, and most of the time she eats white rice porridge. The main reason is that she developed a physical aversion to sweet potatoes in her previous life. The thought of eating sweet potatoes gives me a heartburn. Although she didn't plan to use the space's supplies to eat and drink lavishly, there was no need to make herself miserable. Anyway, her man could afford her food and clothing, so she naturally wouldn't wrong herself. Qin Yan eats everything. When he is performing the most extreme tasks in the wild, he eats whatever he can get. However, he never interferes with what his wife cooks or what dishes she makes. For him, being able to eat the food she cooked for him was a great happiness, not to mention that her cooking skills were so good. If he doesn't have enough money, he should go and earn it. It is impossible for him to lower his standards and let his wife suffer. After the family of 3 finished their meal, Qin Yan went out. He didn't ask Lin Wanshu to prepare anything, just some money and tickets. Lin Wanshu's marriage in her previous life was in vain. There was no difference between having a man or not, which also made her independent. Since she came to Yun province, she has never been separated from Qin Yan for a single day in her life. Now that there was suddenly one less person in the house, she slowly began to feel a sense of loss. However, she did not have the chance to feel sad. Early the next morning, just after she finished washing up, Lin Wanshu heard Ji Hualan calling outside. Wanshu, are you up yet? We're going to pick bamboo shoots. Do you want to go? When she heard about digging bamboo shoots, Lin Wanshu immediately became excited. I'm going. Wait for me. After all, Lin Wanshu was not an ignorant person, so she would not foolishly ask where to find bamboo shoots in the season. In fact, there is a kind of bamboo called dragon bamboo in Yunnan province, which is a tropical and subtropical plant that is heat-resistant but not cold-resistant. Bamboo shoots sprout out from June to October every year. Not only are they big in size, but they are also crispy, tender, and sweet in taste. Lin Wanshu was drooling just thinking about it. Xiao Miao Miao got up early today. She was originally sleepy, but when she heard that she was going out, she instantly revived. I'm going. The little paws hugged her mother's thighs, as if she was afraid that her mother would not take her out to play. Looking at the soft little pendant on her leg, Lin Wanshu's heart was almost melted by her cuteness. But no matter how cute she is, Lin Wanshu will not give in on things that she must insist on. After you brush your teeth, Mom will take you there. When the little guy heard the word brush teeth, he instantly wilted. But she already knew that she couldn't persuade her mother, so she brushed her teeth reluctantly with her mother's help. I heard that the place for digging bamboo shoots is on another mountain, about 2 or 3 kilometers away from the troops. Lin Wanshu was afraid that the baby couldn't walk, so she carried her in front of her with a sling and a backpack behind her. As soon as I went out, I saw that each of the military wives was carrying a pair of dustpans, but also large sacks in the dustpans, as if they were going to the mountains to purchase goods. Wanshu, aren't you going to take the dustpan? How many can the backpack hold? Seeing that Lin Wanshu was only carrying a backpack, Yongzhen couldn't help but feel worried for her. There are so many bamboo shoots. Wouldn't it be such a waste to only pick up a few? I just want to join in the fun and try some, so picking up a few is enough. She picked up so many that it became too heavy for her to carry. Hearing this, others stopped trying to persuade her. After all, she was still carrying a baby, and it was indeed not very convenient. After a group of 7 or 8 people had gathered, they went out in a lively manner. As soon as I walked to the gate, I saw Daya and a few others, and Arya was holding a large sack in her hand. Daya, where are you going? Wang Chunling walked up quickly and asked. When Daya saw so many military wives, she subconsciously wanted to shrink back. But perhaps it was the change in her mother's behavior in the past few days that gave her some courage, and she forced herself to stand still. Aunt, we also want to go dig bamboo shoots. When they heard that she was going to dig bamboo shoots, they were not too surprised. After all, Daya had been working in the fields with Huang Fengming since she was young, and she was very capable at a young age. We are also going to dig bamboo shoots, let's go together. Wang Chunling called the sisters. Daya and the others did not dare to say no, so they nodded and followed the adults. Lin Wanshu happened to be walking at the back, and Sonia looked at Xiao Miao Miao who was carried on her back, her eyes full of envy. Sonia, hurry up. Knowing that she walked slowly and was prone to falling, Daya led her to walk. Although she was not very old, she was very skilled in taking care of her sister, as if it had become instinct. After walking for a while, she took out a roasted grasshopper from her pocket and secretly stuffed it into her mouth. Eat it quickly. Although Sonia had eaten sweet potato porridge last night, she was hungry again after sleeping. When she received the grasshopper, her eyes lit up immediately, and she stuffed it into her mouth and chewed it randomly. Xiao Miao Miao held the rice cake in her hand, looked at Sonia who was eating it voraciously, and then looked at the rice cake in her hand that she had eaten half of. She blinked, stretched out her little hand, and handed the rice cake to Sonia. Sonia looked at the rice cake in front of her and couldn't help swallowing her saliva. She had eaten this before, it was fragrant, sweet, and sticky, and it was delicious. But looking at the clean rice cake in Xiao Miao Miao's hand, she shook her head timidly again. Xiao Miao Miao had a bad memory and had forgotten that she was rejected once last time. Now that she was rejected again, she didn't cry, but her little face was full of confusion. Sister, you eat. Sonia has eaten. She's not hungry. Daya was older after all, and seeing that her sister didn't say a word, she quickly replied for her. Xiao Miao Miao heard her voice and turned her head curiously again. She was probably born to be a boy who gives away money. After being rejected by Sonia, she handed the rice cake to Daya. Lin Wanshu didn't interfere with her love of sharing food with others. As long as it wasn't stolen, she would let her do whatever she wanted. Daya used to live in fear every day and didn't pay much attention to Xiao Miao Miao. Now, seeing that this little sister is not only pretty, but also has the same good temper as Aunt Wanshu, she couldn't help but like her. No, sister, I'm not hungry either, you eat quickly. Compared to before, she is indeed not so hungry now. After all, she also drank a bowl of thick porridge last night, which is different from the watery porridge before. Daya didn't dare to think of such a day before. Now she only prays that she can fill her stomach for a little longer and longer. For this reason, she dared not eat anything else except sweet potato porridge for fear of eating up her blessings. What's more, she would not ask for other people's things casually. Xiao Miao Miao was a little unhappy because the rice cake was not successfully delivered. Daya felt a little sorry when she saw her like this. Along the way, she kept looking for wild fruits for her to eat. After eating the wild fruit, Xiao Miao Miao soon forgot what happened just now. With her red little mouth, she kicked her hands and feet happily. Lin Wanshu was carrying someone on her back as she walked on the bumpy path. She almost fell down because of her kick. Be quiet, Lin Wanshu warned, patting her little ace. Suppressed by her mother's blood, Xiao Miao Miao finally behaved herself. The people behind her didn't dare to kick anymore. The group walked all the way to Bailon Mountain. Yang Zheng had just been here yesterday. She led the way in front, and the others followed behind. Halfway up the mountain, they saw a large bamboo forest. There. Tang Qian was so excited that she ran towards the bamboo forest quickly with the dustpan on her shoulder, as if she was afraid that she would be robbed if she walked too slowly. The others didn't want to run at first, but seeing her running so fast, they had no choice but to run with her. Lin Wanshu was just making up the numbers, so she didn't plan to compete with them. She just carried Xiao Miao Miao on her back and walked slowly towards the bamboo forest. But as soon as they entered, they heard Tang Qian's disappointed voice. Where are the bamboo shoots? Didn't they say there were a lot of them? Why are there none left? Yang Zheng looked at the bamboos all over the ground, but didn't see a single bamboo shoot. She was also dumbfounded. Who is so quick? They dug them all up in a short time? She saw the bamboos all over the ground yesterday, and she couldn't carry so many, so she came back to tell others to dig together. Who would have thought that they would come up empty-handed? After finally coming here, everyone was still panting and disappointed. If I had known there were no bamboo shoots, I wouldn't have come this time. Tang Qian complained while fanning herself with her hands. She wasn't a bad person, she just liked to take advantage of others and had a bad mouth. Originally, everyone didn't plan to bring her here, but she insisted on following. Hearing this, Yang Zheng felt very uncomfortable. After all, they came here because they listened to her words. Now she made them come here in vain. How could she feel at ease? Tang Qian, we didn't call you. You insisted on coming here. Now that you've run away, you blame others. How can you be so embarrassed? Wang Chunling didn't tolerate her at all. She kept scolding her. Hearing this, Tang Qian felt a little embarrassed. I was just saying it casually. She shrank her neck and said, obviously she was afraid of Wang Chunling. Wang Chunling rolled her eyes and ignored her. She comforted Yang Zheng. It's probably the people from the nearby brigade who came to dig. You can't know about such a faraway thing in the family compound. Don't think too much. Let's see if there is any firewood here. Pick up some, and it won't be a wasted trip. The others thought the same. They did it right away. Several people put down the dustpan and started picking up dry bamboo and bamboo leaves. Daya and the others were also disappointed when they saw that there were no bamboo shoots. But they didn't dare to go back empty-handed, so they learned to pick up firewood like the military wives. At this moment, Lin Wanshu's surprised voice suddenly came from behind. There are bamboo fungi here. The military wives were all excited when they heard about bamboo fungi. That's bamboo fungi, delicious and nutritious. It's the best to take it home and cook soup. Where is it? Ji Hualan was closest to her, so she went over. Lin Wanshu carefully pulled apart the dry bamboo leaves, and everyone gasped at once.
There are so many.
It's not easy to pick up a few flowers at ordinary times, but there is a whole field here. It's too outrageous. Is this real? Just thinking about it, I saw Tang Qian had picked up the dustpan and picked the bamboo fungi quickly. Tang Qian, this is what Wanshu found. How can you pick it like this? Tang Qian pouted. Isn't this thing still growing on the ground? Whoever picks it first will get it. As she spoke, she picked it and her hands didn't stop moving. Everyone was shocked by her shamelessness. Tang Qian had just come back from her hometown after visiting her husband, and Lin Wanshu didn't know her well. She and several other military wives usually like to share the good things they come across with each other. Who would have thought that such a would appear today? Lin Wanshu is willing to share with the military wives she is on good terms with, but that doesn't mean she is willing to be plundered by a stranger. Just as she was about to speak, she suddenly saw a few black scorpions jumping out of the soil from the corner of her eye. Be careful, step back. Lin Wanshu's face changed, and she stepped back while holding her little Meow Meow. She said to the military wives next to her. Tang Qian was closest to the scorpion and had no time to hide. The next second, a pig-killing scream resounded through the bamboo forest. Was stung by a scorpion, and it wasn't just one, and there were more than one stings. When she was picking bamboo fungus, she happened to come across a scorpion nest. Several scorpions rushed out of the ground and stung anything they caught. Tang Qian was the first to be stung. She was stung several times, and her face was almost deformed in pain. The others were scared to death when they saw her like this. Lin Wanshu was relatively calm, and she was wearing thick rubber-soled shoes, so she stepped on two scorpions that rushed over to her. Wang Chunling was not much better. After the initial panic, she chased the scorpion and stepped on one to death. Seeing how brave they were, the others followed suit. Some smashed with hoes, some chopped with machetes, and even Daya picked up a stone and smashed it hard at a scorpion. 6 or 7 scorpions died after everyone's operation. Everyone was still gasping for air in shock. Tang Qian's hands were swollen like pig's trotters. It's all your fault. Did you do it on purpose? You called me here just to watch me get stung by a scorpion? Lin Wanshu thought that she must have some kind of brain problem to say such a ridiculous thing. Yes, you're right. I have clairvoyance. I saw scorpions here in the family compound. I dragged you here and opened this pile of bamboo leaves to let you pick bamboo fungus on purpose so that you can get stung by a scorpion. Are you satisfied with what I said? Tang Qian's face turned from green to red, and then from red to black. It was so exciting. How could she not know that she was unlucky to get stung by a scorpion? But she was used to blaming others for all the mistakes. At this moment, she was squeezed by Lin Wanshu, and she was angry, embarrassed, and embarrassed. In the end, she didn't even know what mood she was in. The military wives were also speechless by Tang Qian's weird words. Originally, they felt a little sympathetic for her being stung so badly by a scorpion, but now they only felt happy. She deserved it. Tang Qian, please be kind enough not to follow us next time, okay? Otherwise, if you get bitten by something again, you will blame us later. Wang Chunling was so annoyed with her. Why didn't she stay longer in her hometown? Why did she come back so soon? Others also had disgusted expressions on their faces. Tang Qian immediately felt very wronged. Why are you all like this? Didn't you say that the family compound is a big family? I'm injured now, and you still scold me. I'm sorry. If there is such a shameless person in my family, I will beat you up sooner or later. Yang Zheng rubbed his fists and felt itchy. He really wanted to beat her dog head, to avoid being off by her sooner or later. We treat you as a family member so that you can treat us as a sucker? Ji Hualan, who was always good-tempered, was very angry. Every time the military wife said something, Tang Qian shrank her shoulders, and her face almost turned the color of liver. Don't say such harsh words. At most, I'll share some of the good things I find with you next time. Tang Qian felt pain even before she saw the legendary good things. No, I'm afraid that taking your things will shorten my life. Wang Chunling declined, fearing that she would curse her every day behind her back. I don't want it either. Get out of here as far as you can when you see me in the future. I'm afraid that I won't be able to control my hands one day. The former military wives didn't accept her, and the new Lin Wanshu ignored her. Tang Qian felt something was wrong. I was wrong, isn't it okay? I promise to be honest in the future. I won't take anything that's not mine. Tang Qian raised her swollen hand like a pig's hoof and swore to the sky. But no one believed her at all. Unless you return the bamboo fungus to Wanshu and apologize to her, I'll take your words as. It's useless to talk nicely to such a person. You have to be more forceful. Sure enough, after she said that, although Tang Qian was very reluctant, she still obediently poured the bamboo fungus into Lin Wanshu's backpack. I'm sorry. Tang Qian lowered her head and said sullenly. She didn't get the bamboo fungus, and her hands were swollen like pig's trotters. Tang Qian felt that she was at a loss.
This is just this time.
If you try to steal my things again next time, I won't be so easy to talk to. Lin Wanshu didn't like to deal with people who like to take advantage and put all the responsibilities on others. After saying this coldly, she took out a long stick and knocked on the place where she had just picked bamboo fungus. After making sure there were no other insects, she put Xiao Miao Miao down. Aunt Wanshu, let me help you look after my sister. Diane knew that she wanted to pick bamboo shoots, and she was worried about Xiao Miao Miao, so she took the initiative to speak. Thank you, Dia, I'll give you some bamboo fungus later. There were really a lot of bamboo fungus in this area. In addition to what Tang Qian had just picked, there were still 2/3 left. It seems that this piece of land must have been cut down before, and the remaining section has dried and rotted, which is why there are so many bamboo fungi. After what happened to Tang Qian just now, the other military wives were too embarrassed to pick the bamboo fungi she found. They were not Tang Qian, and they could not be so shameless. Since bamboo fungi were found here, they must be able to find others. The military wives went their separate ways to pick bamboo fungi, while Lin Wanshu concentrated on picking her own piece. Tang Qian felt even more aggrieved when she saw that everyone still ignored her. Didn't they agree to apologize and return the bamboo fungi? Couldn't they still play together? Why did they all run so far away now? Tang Qian didn't understand, and she felt a little depressed. She felt that she had really made a mistake. Kicking the mud on the ground sullenly, she looked at Lin Wanshu's basket that was getting fuller and fuller from time to time. Every time she looked at it, she felt a little more painful. But she didn't dare to run to grab those just now, because she was afraid that Wang Chunling and the others would really not let her follow them in the future. Lin Wanshu didn't know what was going on in Tang Qian's mind. After picking up the bamboo fungus on the ground, she grabbed a few handfuls and put them into Aria's bag. Dia still refused to take it, but she couldn't convince Lin Wanshu. This is a reward for helping me take care of my sister. If you don't accept it, how can I still have the nerve to ask you to help? At this point, how could Dia refuse? In the end, she had to help her take care of Xiao Miao Miao seriously. She must not let her fall, bite, or be bitten by insects. Lin Wanshu knew that Dia was a steady person, so she didn't worry about it. She gave each of them a piece of mung bean cake and asked them to sit on a big rock to eat it, and then she went to concentrate on looking for bamboo fungus. Sonia's eyes almost turned green when she saw the familiar mung bean cake in her hand. Sister, cake. She happily raised the mung bean cake in her hand to Dia. Dia looked at the mung bean cake in her hand and was very excited, but she couldn't bear to eat it. She planned to take it back for her mother to taste it. After eating this mung bean cake, her stomach is full and it can satisfy her hunger. Her mother needs to eat more good food so that she can get better soon. Looking at the mung bean cake in her hand, Dia's eyes are full of expectation. Lin Wanshu was looking for bamboo fungus, not far away. When she looked up, she could see the children on the stone, so she was not too worried. Just as she was poking and searching everywhere with a stick, suddenly, at a certain place, she felt a strange touch under the stick. Lin Wanshu's heart tightened. This touch. She swallowed her saliva, and with a trembling hand, she poked it gently again. As soon as she poked it, she heard a cough from under the bamboo leaves, followed by a heavy gasp of, as if it would not last for the next second. Lin Wanshu immediately realized that there was a person under the bamboo leaves, and he was half dead. Without figuring out what was going on, Lin Wanshu did not dare to step forward rashly, but still took the stick and gently pushed away the bamboo leaves covering the man. As the bamboo leaves were pulled away little by little, an old face with white hair and beard appeared in front of Lin Wanshu. The old man didn't know how long he had been hungry, and his cheeks were sunken because of his thinness. At this moment, he was opening his mouth and breathing hard. Seeing that it was really an old man who was about to die, how could Lin Wanshu dare to delay? Throwing away the stick in her hand, she walked forward and asked, "Old man, how come you are here?" Perhaps hearing the voice, the old man who fell to the ground opened his eyes with difficulty. Water. From the sound of his weak breathing, Lin Wanshu barely recognized his words. Without hesitation, she hurriedly took off the kettle on her back, unscrewed the lid, and then carefully helped the man up. As soon as the water was put to the old man's mouth, he, who was originally dying, didn't know where he got the strength, and suddenly grabbed the kettle and drank it. The whole kettle of water was drunk up in a short while. Seeing that he seemed to have not eaten for a long time, Lin Wanshu took out the rice cake she brought in the morning from her bag and handed it to him. The old man probably drank the water and recovered a little spirit. When he saw the food, he didn't hesitate to take it and stuffed it into his mouth. Be careful, slow down. Lin Wanshu was afraid that he would choke. Fortunately, the rice cake was not dry, and the old man did not choke even though he wolfed it down. Lin Wanshu brought 4 rice cakes in total, and Xiao Miao Miao had already eaten one. Seeing that the old man seemed not to be full, she gave him the remaining 2. You eat first, I'll go borrow a pot of water for you. Her water had been finished, and it was not good to eat rice cakes without drinking water, so Lin Wanshu planned to borrow some from a military wife. But just as she finished speaking, a pot of water was handed over to her. Lin Wanshu looked up and saw a red and swollen hand. Lin Wanshu. You don't even dislike my water, do you? Tang Qian was very hurt. She had always been like this, and they didn't say anything. Why did they dislike her now? Lin Wanshu did dislike her, and she didn't want to have anything to do with her. But when she looked around, she didn't know where the other military wives had gone. She didn't know how long it would take for her to find them to borrow water. She also had to check if the old man was injured, otherwise how could he fall here and almost starve to death? After hesitating for a while, she reached out to take Tang Qian's water. Now that you have accepted my water, you can't care about what happened just now. Besides, I didn't get a single bamboo fungus, and my hand was suffering. I didn't say anything, so you can't be so stingy. Tang Qian squatted beside Lin Wanshu and kept talking. Lin Wanshu. Is she still right? Unable to help it, she rolled her eyes. Ignoring her, Lin Wanshu unscrewed the lid of the kettle. Seeing that the old man had eaten another piece of rice cake, she handed the water over. Seeing that he wanted to drink it again, Lin Wanshu hurriedly said, "Drink slowly. There is only this pot now, and it will be gone after you finish it." Hearing this, the old man who originally wanted to swallow it all gave up the idea, only drank 2 shallow sips, and continued to eat the last piece of rice cake. While he was eating, Lin Wanshu helped him check his body. "No need to check, the leg bone is broken," the old man said vaguely with a rice cake in his mouth. Lin Wanshu was a little surprised. "How did you know?" The old man swallowed the rice cake in his mouth and said, "I have been treating patients all my life. How could I not know? If it weren't for those idiots, would he have been sent here? It's a pity that he can't die, and he can't live comfortably." Lin Wanshu. "So it's the old senior, I'm sorry." Sun Haidao waved his hand. "What old senior? Just an old man who won't die." As he said, he put the rest of the rice cake into his mouth. Well, if he didn't die, he would continue to endure. Listening to his accent, it's not difficult to guess why the old man appeared in this difficult border. At this moment, looking at his embarrassed appearance, Lin Wanshu was a little sad. Under the wheel of history, individuals are as small as dust. "Old man, where do you live? I'll ask someone to take you back." Lin Wanshu wanted to send him back, but he almost died here, and no one would care about him. If he was sent back, how many days could he live? Sun Haidao pointed to a cowshed at the foot of the mountain in the distance and smiled freely. "I live there, but there's no need to send me back." He was full now, and with a cane he could move back a little bit. "Old man, with your broken legs, when can you walk back?" Tang Qian saw that Lin Wanshu ignored her, so she interrupted. Sun Haidao was so angry that he blew his beard and glared. "Hey! How can you talk like that, little girl? Do you know what it means to respect the old and love the young?" Lin Wanshu was afraid that Tang Qian would say something more explosive, so she quickly interrupted her and said to the old man, "Your leg bone is broken and you can't move around. Let me take you down." If the old man was in another profession, Lin Wanshu might not insist on taking you down, but he was a doctor and most likely a Chinese medicine doctor, so she couldn't ignore him. "You don't have to take me down." The old man was also stubborn and refused to let Lin Wanshu take him down no matter what. Tang Qian couldn't stand it anymore. "I said I'd take you down, so why are you talking so much?" As she said that, she reached out and picked up Sun Haidao from the pit. Lin Wanshu never thought that she would do this suddenly, and was shocked. "His leg is still injured. We can't just move him." Sun Haidao also screamed in pain, saying it. "It hurts me, an old man." Tang Qian never thought that there would be so many tricks to move an injured person. Seeing that one of them was frightened and the other was screaming, she suddenly felt embarrassed and wanted to put the man back into the pit. Before she put him down, she was stopped by Lin Wanshu again. "No, don't put it back, put it here," Lin Wanshu said as she wanted to help carry the man. "If we have already moved him, wouldn't it be a waste of suffering to put him back into the pit?" "Danki An. One moment this, one moment that, are you deliberately torturing me?" she muttered in dissatisfaction, and she didn't even wait for Lin Wanshu to get started, and directly put the old man to the place designated by Lin Wanshu. Lin Wanshu was shocked by her relaxed look. "Isn't this a female superhero?" Tang Qian, who had just put the old man down, couldn't help shaking her hands, obviously feeling very uncomfortable. Seeing that her hands seemed to be more swollen than before, Lin Wanshu frowned and took out a box of ointment from her pocket and handed it to her. Use this to wipe your hands, it will reduce swelling. Hearing that it can reduce swelling, Tang Qian's eyes lit up and she grabbed the ointment without any courtesy. Why didn't you take it out earlier? After getting the ointment, she said something unforgiving. Lin Wanshu almost laughed out loud. Is it yours? If you keep complaining, give the medicine back to me. Hearing this, Tang Qian took a few steps back reflexively. I'm just talking. Don't be angry, I apologize. Isn't it okay for me to apologize? Lin Wanshu. What else can she say? Afraid of getting angry again, Lin Wanshu decided not to pay attention to her. Picking up the machete in the backpack, she picked a bamboo of suitable thickness and chopped it with a knife. Why did you cut this? Tang Qian asked while applying the medicine. Since it was free, she didn't hesitate to apply it thickly. Not to mention, after applying it, her hands, which were originally swollen and hot, were now cool and much more comfortable. Lin Wanshu didn't say anything. She measured the cut bamboo to a suitable length and cut it with a click, click, click sound. Then, she split the bamboo and polished it inside and out. Aren't you going to cut it back for firewood? Tang Qian continued to ask, as if she had no idea that she had just him off. Lin Wanshu. I don't want to listen, you rascal. After mumbling to herself, she picked up the cut bamboo and returned to the old man. I just happened to bring some medicine for your wounds. Now I'll help you apply the medicine and fix it with the bamboo board. Sun Haidao had been watching her busying around for him, and he felt very complicated. Since the accident, everyone treated him as a plague, and even his closest family members stayed away from him, afraid that if he got any closer, he would be in trouble. But she, a stranger, didn't care whether she would be implicated or not. She not only gave him food, but also applied medicine and bandaged him. Girl, don't bandage it. My old bones won't live for a few days. Sun Haidao sighed deeply. He was a man whose half-body was buried in the less. Why did he bother to harm a young man who still had a long way to go? Old man, don't say that. Even ants try to survive. As a human, how can we not cherish our lives? It's easy to die, but it's hard to live. Live uprightly. If you don't persist, how do you know that dawn won't suddenly come one day? The dawn was clearly ahead, but many people fell in the darkness.
Dawn. Dawn?
Sun Haido's old voice was filled with unspeakable confusion. Can he still see the dawn? Lin Wanshu didn't say anything else. Some words are enough to stop at the right time. Sure enough, after what he said just now, Sun Haidao didn't stop her from applying medicine to him. The new medicine has not been developed yet, and Lin Wanshu still uses the one she used to apply to Qin Yan. She still puts the powder in a black cloth bag, and after opening it, there is another layer of oil paper bag inside. Lin Wanshu took out the oil paper bag and opened it carefully. As soon as the bag was opened, a strange smell wafted away. Sun Haidao, who was still a little confused, suddenly sat up straight. This medicine. Looking at the strange colored powder in her oil paper bag, Sun Haido's voice trembled a little. Lin Wanshu thought his reaction was a little unusual, so she looked at him strangely. This prescription was left by my grandfather, and I found herbs to make it myself. Hearing this, Sun Haido's eyes suddenly widened, and his eyes stared at the young girl in front of him.
You
mean, this prescription is from your grandfather? Sun Haido's breathing was rapid, his chest was heaving violently, and his voice was shaking so much that he couldn't form a sentence. Lin Wanshu saw that something was wrong and was afraid that he would pass out in one breath, so she hurriedly patted his back. Don't get excited, take care of yourself. But as soon as she finished speaking, Sun Haidao grabbed her arm. Is your grandpa
called Tao Qiming?
Seeing him like this, how could Lin Wanshu not know? This man must be an old acquaintance of Grandpa, and an old acquaintance with a special relationship. Otherwise, how could he know her grandpa's name just by a piece of medicine? Yes, my grandpa is indeed called Tao Qiming. As soon as she finished speaking, she saw Sun Haidao burst into tears. Senior brother, you made me look so hard. Sun Haidao held Lin Wanshu tightly with one hand, as if he was afraid that she would run away, and the other hand kept wiping tears. Hearing that he was actually the junior brother of Grandpa, Lin Wanshu was also shocked.
You said.
You are my grandpa's junior brother? It's true. This prescription was created by your grandpa. I knew it as soon as I smelled it. Sun Haidao was full of emotion. At that time, the whole country was in turmoil, and those who lived in the Taoist temple were not spared. Finally, under the call of the head, they decided to go down the mountain to resist the invaders. But a few years after going down the mountain, they were separated in the war. Over the years, he has never given up asking about the whereabouts of his senior brother, but there is no news. Everyone said that he was definitely in danger. After all, 35 million people died in the whole country in that catastrophe. Under such a huge number, an individual is as small as a speck of dust. How many people died silently on this land and no one knows? How easy is it to find a person whose life or death is unknown in the vast sea of people? Listening to him talking about his past with his grandfather, Lin Wanshu was already in a mess. Didn't her grandfather's family practice medicine for generations? How did they get involved with Taoist priests?
And
Can Taoist priests get married? She couldn't help but asked curiously. Sun Haidao looked at her with contempt, as if he was dissatisfied with her lack of common sense. We are from the Jingyi sect. Of course we can get married. Not only can we get married and have children, but we can also eat meat. We are not the old feudalists of the Chuanjin sect. Lin Wanshu. Well, it seems that she still has little experience. After listening to his popular science, Lin Wanshu curiously asked about her grandfather's past. Didn't my senior brother tell you? He only came to our Taoist temple later, and I don't know why he came. If you're curious, why don't you go back and ask him? Lin Wanshu. Seeing that he looked forward to meeting his grandfather, Lin Wanshu suddenly felt reluctant to tell him that his grandfather had passed away. But what was coming could not be avoided after all. After chatting for a while, Sun Haidao seemed to remember something and asked Lin Wanshu, "By the way, where is your grandfather now? Tell me quickly." Facing his excited and expectant eyes, Lin Wanshu's throat seemed to be blocked by something. She opened her mouth again and again, but still couldn't say a word. Sun Haidao was not stupid. Seeing her like this, he knew everything. Just say it. I can bear it. He let go of Lin Wanshu's arm and said in a muffled voice. He was really stupid. He was in such a difficult situation. How could his senior brother be spared? Although she was reluctant, Lin Wanshu still told him that her grandfather had passed away 20 years ago. But to her surprise, the old man's reaction was not as intense as before. Instead, he asked her calmly whether her grandfather had suffered before he passed away. Lin Wanshu shook her head. No, everyone in our village is very grateful to him. Hearing that he left in a dignified manner, Sun Haidao nodded with red eyes and murmured, "That's good, that's good. Not dying under the knife of the devils, nor dying in the hands of those rascals, is not a bad thing." Lin Wanshu didn't expect that fate was so wonderful that she could meet her grandfather's junior brother here. She wanted to help him, even though she didn't know him. Now that she knew he was such a close person, she took care of him even more wholeheartedly. After carefully sprinkling the medicine powder on his right leg, Lin Wanshu picked up the bamboo boards and prepared to fix his leg. Seeing Lin Wanshu take out a long rope from the bag, Tang Qian was numb. "How much stuff did you pack? How come there is everything?" If she wasn't afraid that she would be angry again, she would have wanted to open her bag and take a look. Lin Wanshu held the bamboo board in one hand and the rope in the other, which was not easy to operate. Hearing her squeak, he hesitated for a while and still called her to help. After all, he had just given her medicine, so asking her for a favor was not too much, right? And Tang Qian, who was ordered around, was not dissatisfied and took the bamboo board happily. "I'll do it, don't worry, I'll fix it firmly for you." After hearing this, Lin Wanshu finally had a little change of mind about her. With the cooperation of the two, Sun Haidao's leg was fixed quickly. Lin Wanshu tied a knot and said to Sun Haidao, "I'll take you back first." This time, Sun Haidao did not refuse, but refused to let her take him to the cowshed and only let her take him to the fork in the road. Get me a crutch, my left leg can still move, and it's no problem to go back. Knowing that this was the limit of his concession, Lin Wanshu didn't say anything else. She went to get him a sturdy crutch. But just when she found the crutch, Ji Hualan and others came back. Seeing an injured old man, they were all shocked. Hualan, you're back just in time. Help me take care of Miao Miao. I'll take this old man back to the team. Lin Wanshu didn't say who he was, and the others didn't think much about it, just thinking that it was an old man from the nearby team who fell up the mountain.
How can that be?
I'll go with you. It's not easy for you to walk alone. Just let them take care of Miao Miao. How could Ji Hualan feel at ease for a beautiful woman like her to go to the team alone? What if someone is blind? Lin Wanshu didn't want her to get involved. After all, the situation was still turbulent. It would be bad if she was implicated. No, I'm fast, don't worry. As she said that, she was about to carry the person. But Tang Qian got there first. Let me do it. It's going to be dark when you guys finish talking. She was strong and quick, and she carried the person and walked away. Lin Wanshu was shocked by her actions again. When she came to her senses, she blocked Ji Hualan from helping her, and then she quickly chased after her. Slow down, wait for me. Everyone else knew that Tang Qian was very strong, and seeing that she had carried the person away, they didn't say anything. Tang Qian and Lin Wanshu were both used to walking on mountain roads, especially Tang Qian, who walked very fast with a person on her back, and Lin Wanshu almost couldn't catch up. Not long after, the two of them reached the foot of the mountain. It was about 400 or 500 meters from here to the cowshed. Lin Wanshu didn't want to let her carry the bamboo fungus alone, so she said, I'll do the rest of the way. You go back first. I'll give you half of the bamboo fungus later. Since she had done such a big favor, Lin Wanshu wasn't the kind of person who didn't know what was good for her and only wanted benefits without giving anything in return. So she offered to give her half of the bamboo fungus. Hearing this, Tang Qian narrowed her eyes and was obviously very satisfied. You don't have to carry it. I'm not tired. If you feel bad, you can give me a few pieces tomorrow. Oh no. 2 pieces of rice cake will be fine. She was so greedy just now, but she was embarrassed to ask because Lin Wanshu ignored her. Now that she saw that her attitude had softened, she took advantage of the situation. It's settled. I'll ask you for rice cakes tomorrow. Fearing that Lin Wanshu would not agree, she carried Sun Haidao on her back and walked quickly in front. Lin Wanshu. When they reached the fork in the road, Sun Haidao refused to let the two of them carry him anymore. Go back, go back. I can do it myself. Sun Haidao waved at the two of them. After all, he was a Taoist priest, and his body was much stronger than that of ordinary people. After eating a full stomach, he had recovered his spirits and could walk with a cane. Lin Wanshu did not leave, but took out the remaining medicine from her big bag, as well as a small bag of about 7 or 8 mung bean cakes, and stuffed them into his hands. Take this, and I will bring it to you after you finish eating. Don't refuse. Your legs are like this. If I don't take care of it, you will not have the face to see my grandfather when you die. She had said everything. What else could Sun Haidao say? Reaching out to take the bag, his eyes were a little red, and he urged again. Go back. Lin Wanshu knew that he was worried about her, so she didn't stay for long. She waved to him and left with Tang Qian. Along the way, Tang Qian's eyes never left her bag. Why do you bring so much food when you go out? The most important thing is there anything left? Lin Wanshu. No, it's all gone. Afraid that she would not believe it, she opened her bag. Tang Qian took a look and found that it was indeed empty. Not to mention food, even medicine was gone. If I had known that you still had so much food, I would have asked you for 1 piece just now. What a pity. For her, not getting any advantage is equivalent to losing money. What else can Lin Wanshu say? After thinking for a while, she said, I will steam a pot of rice cakes for you tomorrow, but I need your help with something. Hearing this, Tang Qian's expression was very strange, as if she was in pain, but also as if she was alert, and she looked very entangled. You won't let me do anything that is against the will of heaven, right? Let me tell you, although I, Tang Qian, like to take advantage of small things. I will never do anything that loses my conscience." She looked like she was very principled. Lin Wanshu was angry and amused. "What are you thinking? What evil thing can I ask you to do?"
Oh,
"Okay, tell me." Tang Qian was still worried. After all, it was just a pot of rice cakes. She didn't want to do anything against her conscience, so why would she spend so much money? Forget about a pot. Even if she was asked to give a piece, Tang Qian would be so painful that she couldn't sleep. Lin Wanshu had already figured out her temper, so she didn't keep it a secret. "I asked you not to tell anyone what we just talked about." Although she was not afraid of trouble, it was best to avoid it if possible. "I thought you were going to say something. Do you think I'm a big-mouthed person?" Lin Wanshu. "Not just like I'm a big-mouthed person." Tang Qian looked at her suspicious expression and choked. "Don't look down on me. If you can steam a pot of rice cakes for me tomorrow, and I still talk nonsense everywhere, you will punish me so that I can't take any advantage in the future." Hearing this unique poisonous oath, Lin Wanshu almost choked on her saliva. But this oath was indeed very poisonous for her who loved to take advantage. Lin Wanshu was relieved. She had planned to tempt her with rice cakes to see how she would react. If she was unreliable, she would give her a warning. Unexpectedly, she was more reliable than she thought, which made Lin Wanshu feel a little bit like a mean person. Thinking of this, she decided to add some extra ingredients to her rice cakes tomorrow. Tang Qian didn't know what Lin Wanshu was thinking. At this moment, she was immersed in the joy of getting a pot of rice cakes. She was full of energy and walked like flying. After a while, the two returned to the bamboo forest. All the other military wives were there, and each of them looked like they had made a lot of money. I don't know if they stepped on the bamboo fungus nest, but each military wife picked up a lot. Some picked up 5 or 6 handfuls, and some picked up 1 or 2 handfuls. Even Daya and Arya picked up some by themselves just now. Lin Wanshu kept her promise. After returning, she gave half of the bamboo fungus to Tang Qian and agreed to pick up the rice cakes at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. After Tang Qian got the bamboo fungus, she went back happily. It was already noon, and Lin Wanshu took out a dustpan and hung up the remaining bamboo fungus to dry. Xiao Miao helped her mother, as usual. Picking up a large bamboo fungus, she curiously fiddled with the white stuff on it. It turned out that this bamboo fungus was different from the ones next to it, and there was a white net skirt under the umbrella. It looked very beautiful. Xiao Miao played with it for a while, then pulled off the umbrella, and then pulled the net skirt. It seemed that she wanted to tear the net skirt off. Lin Wanshu took a look and let her go. Anyway, what was torn off could be eaten. But after a while, the little guy not only failed to pull off the net skirt successfully but also tore it, and immediately cried out wow. Badu holding the mushroom stem in one hand and the torn net skirt in the other, Xiao Miao was very sad. Lin Wanshu touched her little head with a bit of a smile. "You want this skirt, right? Mom will pick one for you." As she said that, she picked up another bamboo fungus, carefully plucked off the umbrella, and then took off the net skirt. When Xiao Miao got the net skirt, she immediately turned from crying to laughing and held the net skirt to her waist. Lin Wanshu was amused to see that she was so conceited at such a young age. However, she did not criticize her like most parents of this era, but exaggeratedly exclaimed, "Is this Miao Miao's new skirt? It's so beautiful." Being praised by her mother, Xiao Miao was even happier. Holding the net skirt in one hand and the small cage that she never left in the other, she went out. Seeing that she was going out to play, Lin Wanshu quickly told her not to run so far. Xiao Miao didn't know whether she heard it or not. She responded with a babbling sound in her mouth and ran out with her short legs. Seeing that she was running in the direction of Ji Hualan, Lin Wanshu ignored her and turned back to the kitchen to cook. Shinxiai would come back from school at noon for a few days. Xiao Miao usually liked to play with them, so her goal was very clear. First, she ran to the house next door and looked in from outside the fence. Seeing that Xiao Jianxi was not at home, she continued to run forward with her new toy. When she arrived at the next house, she still stuck her little head over the fence and looked inside with big eyes. After seeing that the other 2 brothers were not at home, Xiao Miao Miao was very disappointed. With a small toy on each side, she continued to walk forward aimlessly, wanting to see if there were any other friends. After walking for an unknown period of time, suddenly, a huge figure jumped in front of her. "Stop. This road is opened by me, and this tree is planted by me. If you want to pass through here, leave money for the road." Xiao Miao Miao didn't know what he was talking about. Seeing that it was a little boy, she thought he was playing with her, so she grinned. Pot pot, but the little fat boy who heard this was disgusted. "TSK. Who is your brother? Stop yelling." His mother said that he was from the city and couldn't play with these country bumpkins. Xiao Miao Miao had never seen such a fierce person before and was immediately frightened. When Xiao Pangdun saw the cage in her hand, his eyes lit up and he reached out to grab it. "Give it to you." Xiao Miao Miao's cage was snatched away and she cried wow. Xiao Pangdun bullied children a lot on weekdays. Seeing her crying, he was not afraid, but excited to her bamboo fungus net skirt again. After seeing her crying even harder, Xiao Pangdun was very satisfied. He laughed twice and ran away with the robbed spoils. Where had Xiao Miao Miao seen such a dangerous place? He walked back while crying loudly. The two brothers Shenxiai just came back from school, and they heard Xiao Miao Miao crying from a distance, and they were both shocked. They didn't even have time to put down their school bags and ran towards the direction of the sound. Soon, the two saw Xiao Miao Miao, who was rubbing her eyes and crying pitifully. "Sister, what's wrong with you?" Shun Yu was so distressed that he rushed to hug her. But his legs were not as long as Shen Xi's after all. When he ran to her, Xiao Miao Miao had already been picked up by his brother. He was one step slower, and Xiao Xinyue was so angry. His brother was just unethical. Xiao Miao Miao, who was picked up, probably saw her familiar brother and cried even more sadly. Wu Wao pot grab while crying. She raised her little hand and pointed in the direction just now to complain. Although she couldn't hear what she said clearly, the two brothers immediately realized that someone must have bullied her. And this person, no need to think, must be Zhuang Zhuang. Only he likes to bully people so much. "Let's go. Brother will take you to revenge." Shun Yu was a hot-tempered person. He rolled up his sleeves and ran in the direction Xiao Miao Miao pointed. "Brother will take you to see." Shen Xiai did not put Xiao Miao Miao down, but carried her away directly. Shun Yu quickly found Zhuang Zhuang playing with a cage under a tree. He knew his brother had made a cage for Xiao Miao Miao, but he was careless and didn't know what a cage looked like. When he saw Zhuang Zhuang playing with a cage, he got even more angry.
"Hey,
"Fatty, take my punch." With a roar, he clenched his fists and charged forward. Although Zhuang Zhuang was fat, his body was quite flexible. When he saw Shen Yu rushing towards him, he rolled to avoid Shen Yu's fist. But Shen Yu was not a vegetarian. If he couldn't succeed with one strike, he turned around and chased after him. Soon the two were fighting together. Zhuang Zhuang was strong and Shen Yu was nimble, and the two of them fought evenly. When Shen Xiai and Xiao Miao Miao came over, both sides were interested, but no one stopped. Without any hesitation, Shen Xiai placed Xiao Miao Miao far away from the two of them, told her not to run around, and rushed forward. Different from Shun Yu's rampage, Shen Xiai learned from his father, and he basically punched people to the flesh. After a while, Zhuang Zhuang was beaten until he screamed, "It's not fair. You two are fighting against each other. How can you be considered a hero?" Zhuang Zhuang grinned after being beaten, but he had no intention of admitting defeat. He cursed angrily while resisting. "Why don't you act like a man when you things from girls? If I don't beat you down today, my surname will not be Shen." Shen Yu yelled back while beating Zhuang Zhuang violently. 2-1, and there is Shen Xiai with explosive fighting ability, who is Zhuang Zhuang's opponent. After a while, he cried and gave up. Stop hitting, why don't I give it back to her?" Hearing this, Shen Xiai finally stopped. Shun Yu wanted to continue hitting, but seeing his brother stop, he had no choice but to fight. He reluctantly stopped. But before he stopped, he secretly kicked Zhuang Zhuang. "Go and apologize to Miao Miao." Shen Xi's voice was cold, with an expression that said if he didn't apologize, don't blame him, and beat him up again. Although Zhuang had fought with these two brothers before, he had never been beaten so severely. Especially Shen Xiai, it was as if he had eaten gunpowder, and his tactics were extremely cunning. He now felt pain everywhere in his body. Afraid of being beaten again, Zhuang didn't dare to, so he limped up to Miao Miao with a sad face. Miao Miao was frightened by him just now. When she saw him coming, she hurriedly hid behind Shen Xiai. Shen Xiai touched her head and comforted her. "Don't be afraid. Brother is here." After hearing this, Xiao Miao Miao was not so scared anymore and poked out a little head from behind Shen Xiai, staring at a pair of round eyes. His eyes looked curiously at the bruised and swollen Pang Dun. "I'm sorry, I shouldn't have snatched your things just now." Zhuang finished speaking angrily and couldn't help but hiss. It hurts him to death. Xiao Miao Miao didn't understand why she didn't apologize. She just wanted her cage and net skirt back. He stretched out his hand and pointed to the place where Zhuang was playing in the cage just now. Shenyu ran over and took back his sister's cage. "Here, your cage." As he said that, he handed over the cage in his hand. But Shen Xiai frowned when he saw the cage. That's not it. The cage he gave her didn't have ears. Hearing this, Shen Yu was immediately embarrassed on the spot. Could they have beaten the wrong person? Just when he was thinking about this, he heard Zhuang breathing in and saying angrily, "I just took her cage, and before I had time to play, you guys beat me up." While hiding in Shen Xi's room, Xiao Miao Miao behind him saw his cage, and his eyes suddenly became bright. As she said this, she stretched out her hand towards Shen Yu. After confirming that this was really her little cage, Shen Xiai felt a little upset. "Sister, where is the cage I gave you?" Xiao Miao Miao didn't quite understand what he said, but she could feel that her brother seemed unhappy. After thinking for a while, she handed over the cage in her hand. Here, looking at her innocent and cute appearance, how could Shen Xiai care about his own cage? "Brother doesn't want it. You can play." Shen Yu on the side was a little unhappy. In order to avenge his sister, he got into a fight, and now his whole body hurts. As a result, Xiao Miao Miao actually gave the cage to her brother instead of him. "Sister, you are partial," he accused. Seeing that he was not happy either, Xiao Miao Miao looked a little embarrassed. But instead of giving the cage to Shen Yu, she reached into her trouser pocket and dug it out. After a while, he took out a fruit candy. Guogua eat. After getting a fruit candy, Shen Yu was immediately resurrected with full blood. He happily took the candy, opened it, and threw it into his mouth. When he ate the candy with satisfaction, he found that Shen Xiai had already led Xiao Miao Miao away. Wait a minute. Shen Yu caught up while eating sweets. After Xiao Miao Miao walked for a while, she suddenly thought of her net skirt again. She took Shen Xi's hand and walked under the tree. Shen Xiai didn't know why, but he followed her to the tree without saying anything. Zhuang, who was not far away, saw something was wrong and left secretly. Sure enough, not far away, I heard that annoying cry again. Fan Fenghe. Hearing Shen Yu's roar, how could Zhuang dare to stop? He ran as fast as he could without his life. Finally, when I got home, I met my own mother. Seeing his bruised nose and swollen face, Du Fuling was immediately frightened.
"Son, what happened? Who hit you?" Du Fulin screamed.
"No one hit me. I hit myself." Zhuang waved his hand and said impatiently. He didn't have the shame to say it until he lost the fight. If his father finds out, he will have to fix him later. But Du Fuling didn't believe his rhetoric at all. He hugged her Zhuang, and she screamed heartily. "Who is it that beat you? Don't be afraid. Tell Mom, and Mom will go find his mother to argue with you. Du Fuling is just a son, and it doesn't hurt enough to hold him in the palm of his hand." Seeing him being beaten like this, how could he be so angry? Have you already said it? Don't make blind guesses, okay? Zhuang became more and more impatient. He was starving to death and she was still nagging here. But when it came to the matter of his son being beaten, Du Fuling, who had always doted on his son, became very strong. "If you don't tell me, I will take you one by one to ask, and I will always be able to find out who hit you." Zhuang had no choice but to tell the truth.
"It's
It's Shun Ci and Shin Yu. Du Fuling was furious when she heard that it was the two brothers who joined forces to beat her child. Let's go. I'll take you to find them. On the other side, Shin Ci finally coaxed Xiao Miao Miao, and the two brothers were about to send her home. Who would have thought that he would meet Ji Hualan on the way? Ji Hualan was about to send bamboo shoots to Lin Wanshu. She dug several bamboo shoots on the mountain. When she saw the little guy crying so hard that his eyes were swollen, she was shocked. Why are you crying, sister? Ji Hualan usually loved Xiao Miao Miao very much, but when he heard her concerned voice, Xiao Miao Miao threw herself into her arms and started crying again. This made Ji Hualan, who only had a naughty boy at home and no cute daughter, feel heartbroken. Miao Miao, tell Aunt, did your brother bully you? I'll help you beat him up. As she said this, she glanced at her youngest son. When Shin Yu saw this look, he immediately became unhappy. Mom, what do you mean? Do I look like someone who would bully my sister? He had to grab her even if he wanted to play with her. Ji Hualan glanced at her troubled little son speechlessly, paused, and then said, I don't know who made my sister cry last time. Hearing this, Shin Yu, who originally felt that he had been wronged, suddenly felt a little embarrassed.
Then,
I didn't mean it on purpose. I just wanted to show my good friend's strength to my sister, who knew she would be frightened and cry. Have you ever seen anyone who would give a chameleon to a girl? The more he talked, the more doubtful Ji Hualan became about who this idiot was following. His dad is not like him either. Shin Yu was still a little unconvinced. That's because my sister doesn't understand my strength yet. If she is familiar with strength, she will definitely like it. It is so beautiful and can change color. How could anyone not like his strength?
Yehualan.
As long as you are happy. She has given up trying to persuade this stupid son. It certainly didn't seem like he made his sister cry, so Ji Hualan didn't say anything. As for the bruise on his face, Ji Hualan was already used to it. She would feel weird if he didn't go out to fight someday. In a place like the military, where force is valued, it is normal for boys to get into fights. They are usually not serious and parents will not interfere. As for children, if they are beaten today, they will be fine tomorrow. Shin Ci, tell me, what's wrong with my sister? Shin Ci looked a little unhappy when he saw his sister crying again. He felt that the beating was too gentle just now. Hearing what his mother said, he was about to speak when he heard Du Fuling's voice coming from behind him. Hey Ji Hualan, so you're here? Hearing this, Ji Hualan turned around and saw Du Fuling looking like he was going to attack the enemy. Putting Xiao Miao Miao down and handing it to Shin Ci, she spoke calmly. What do you want from me? Du Fuling pulled her son over and pointed at the bruises on his face and body, his eyes almost bursting with fire. You still have the nerve to ask me. See for yourself what good things your son has done. They actually joined forces to beat my son like this. Ji Hualan didn't panic when he was accused in person. Instead, he said calmly, fighting is indeed not allowed, but my son has always been stable and sensible, and he will never hit anyone casually. It must have been something your son did that made them do it. After all, it is your son who is often complained about. Xiao Miao Miao cried when she thought about it. With such a pitiful appearance, it is not difficult to guess what just happened. Du Fuling didn't care if her son was the cause of the matter. She only knew that her son was beaten, and she would find someone to settle the score. Stop arguing with me. Your son must apologize to my Zhuang Zhuang today and ask him to fight back. Otherwise, this matter will never end. However, Zhuang Zhuang, who was pulled in front of her, looked guilty and looked left and right. I just didn't dare to look at the two Shin Ci brothers. Seeing her like this, Ji Hualan became more and more sure of his guess. I advise you that instead of messing around here, why don't you ask your son what good things he has done first? He is still a child. What can he do? But your child is so old that he still beats people. What if you guys today, if you don't apologize, I will go to the family committee to seek justice. Shin Yu, with his mother behind him, couldn't bear to listen anymore. A head popped out from behind Ji Hualan and he shouted loudly, It's obviously your fat guy who has no shame. He snatched my sister's cage and mushrooms and tore them apart. He should be beaten. Shin Yu pointed at Xiao Miao Miao and held it in his hand.
Cage. Bah.
Stop talking nonsense. My son was born in the city and played with toys bought in the store. Why would he fall in love with a broken cage? Du Fuling felt that her son was insulted. Her family Zhuangzhuang has eaten the best and used the best since he was a child. With his aesthetic taste, how could he like a broken bamboo cage? At this moment, Lin Wanshu, who heard Xiao Miao Miao crying, also rushed over. Seeing Du Fuling scolding the bamboo cage made by her man one by one, she looked a little cold. We are indeed not as well off as you city people. We have used toys bought in the store since we were young. For us country people, it would be nice to have a woven cage to play with. Seeing her admit that her bamboo cage unable to get on the table, Du Fuling snorted and raised her neck proudly. It's good that you know. Why don't you apologize to my son quickly? We don't care about this rag like you. Hearing this, Shen Yu was so angry that he clenched his fists and wanted to rush up and beat the fat man again, but was stopped by Ji Hualan. As if unaware of Shen Yu's eagerness, Lin Wanshu continued, such a lot of toys are bought in stores. They must cost a lot of money, right? Hearing this, Du Fuling raised her head even higher. Look directly at people, through your nostrils. Does that need to be said? The toys my son uses, no matter what, are as good as what you country people have to work to death for a month. Lin Wanshu said, oh. He looked her up and down with unclear eyes. It wasn't until a chill rose in Du Fuling's heart that she continued, I heard that the chairman's clothes are still patched. I didn't expect that Deputy Battalion Commander Fan was so powerful. The money he earned allowed his wife and children to live better than the chairman. Be luxurious. As soon as he said this, Du Fuling's face turned as pale as a ghost. You are such a mouthful. Didn't she mean to insinuate her original style? You said it yourself. So many of us heard it. Lin Wanshu was very angry and showed no mercy at all for daring to her daughter's cage and scolding her for the cage made by her man. This is not something that can be revealed with just a few words. Du Fuling had already been scolded once last time, but it was only Ji Hualan who saved her from causing trouble. But she didn't have a long memory, so she had to hit the muzzle of the gun. Ji Hualan, who had always advocated peace as the most important thing, looked very unhappy at the moment and had no intention of helping her out. Du Fuling began to be afraid. For other things, she can still mess around and argue with each other. This was the only thing she could never touch. Thinking of what her man had said before, Du Fuling started to tremble all over. Don't talk nonsense, I thought for a long time, but I didn't say why. After all, she had said it herself just now that one toy for her son was equivalent to the work points earned by the country people in a month's work. Lin Wanshu's eyes were cold, and his voice was somewhat meaningful. I heard that a big family member in Haisher died a few years ago. She had a daughter, and she happened to marry into a family named Du. Before he could finish his words, someone sharply interrupted him. I don't know what you were talking about. There are so many people with the surname Du in Haisher. You can't even think of throwing a basin at my head. Du Fuling glared at her with a stern expression. Lin Wanshu sneered. I didn't name you either. Why are you so excited? Did you really say that you were right? Du Fuling opened her mouth but couldn't say a word. Her face flushed red. At this moment, she wished she could disappear on the spot. How could she care about seeking justice for her son? Wasn't Lin Wanshu a country girl? How could she know all this? Who told her? Nonsense, son, let's go. We won't bother with these country crazy women. She hurriedly said, grabbed Zhuangzhuang and ran away. The speed was so fast that it seemed as if there was a ghost chasing behind. Ji Hualan looked at her guilty back, a little dumbfounded. Wanshu, how do you know this? She didn't know even after staying in the family compound for so long. This matter was reported in the newspaper, and I was just guessing. In fact, when Lin Wanshu was doing business in her previous life, she had some research on some powerful celebrities. Although this big Z family in High City died early, he was indeed very good at doing business, and his life deeds were later compiled into a book. There was no mention of Du Fuling, but Lin Wanshu thought she looked familiar, so she lied to her. I didn't expect it to be true.
Yehualan.
It seems that people really can't be too desperate or they might hit a wall one day. Du Fuling had already left, and the two didn't say anything else. Although Lin Wanshu was very angry, she didn't want to kill her. After all, they were in the same family compound, and she couldn't just think about her own pleasure and not think about her man. What's more, after this beating, I believe she won't dare to dance in front of them again in a short time. Don't pay attention to those inexplicable people. Look at what I brought you, Ji Hualan said, raising the 2 bamboo shoots in her hand. There were many people on the mountain just now, and she got along with everyone, so it was not easy to give it to Lin Wanshu alone without giving it to others. She had to wait until she returned to the family compound, and then quietly bring 2 to her. Lin Wanshu saw her carrying a big bag that was bulging, and she didn't know what it was. Seeing 2 bamboo shoots now, she was very happy. I thought I didn't have this blessing, but I didn't expect there were 2 more waiting for me. As she said this, she happily took the bamboo shoots. Lin Wanshu has always been generous to her favorite military wives. She would also send them some to try when she made something delicious on weekdays. Others didn't want to take her things for free, so they would basically send something back next time. Therefore, Lin Wanshu accepted the bamboo shoots that Ji Hualan wanted to send to her without any psychological burden. After sending the bamboo shoots, Ji Hualan didn't stay for long. She had to go back to make lunch. Shenyu was about to follow him, but seeing that his brother didn't move, he stayed. He must want to play with his sister by himself. Insidious. Too insidious. Lin Wanshu held 2 bamboo shoots in her hand and couldn't hold a baby, so she put her down and promised to pull another net skirt for her. Xiao Miao Miao then happily came down. Here, the mother and daughter went home happily, followed by the 2 brothers of the Shin family, while on the other side, Qin Yan appeared on a train. The train was bound for the provincial capital. The whole carriage was full of people, and even the aisle could not fit in. Qin Yan stood at the junction of the 2 carriages, seemingly resting with his eyes closed, but in fact his attention was always on a group of strange people. Although their clothes were worn out and patched, they all had tendons. The leader wore a hat with the brim pressed down low, and his appearance could not be seen. The others looked very ordinary, but if you look closely, you can find that their eyes reveal a trace of unusual ferocity. Qin Yan has strong 5 senses and can distinguish their extremely low voices from the noise. Therefore, he quickly judged that this group of people were plotting something shameful. The train rushed forward with a clang, and all kinds of strange smells in the carriage intertwined and permeated the small space. The noisy noise has never stopped since getting on the train. After an unknown amount of time, the leader winked. Qin Yan's eyes fixed, and he was secretly on guard. However, he still looked lazy and dozing. Not long after, the train pulled into the station. Dear passengers, the train has arrived. As the train announcement sounded, the people on the train lined up to the door one after another, ready to get off the train, but the group of people were lingering at the door, with no intention of getting off. At this moment, another group of people were crowding around an old man and walking towards the door of the next carriage. Seeing the old man surrounded by several people, Qin Yan paused and instantly realized who the target of this group of people was. Sure enough, the thought flashed through his mind, and Qin Yan saw the man in the hat take out a pistol from his trouser pocket. Be careful.
Get down.
Qin Yan shouted. He kicked the man's hand and heard a few gunshots, and screams instantly rang out in the carriage. Qin Yan was a soldier, and he was already very skilled. After drinking the spiritual spring water given by Lin Wanshu, his strength has now reached a terrifying level. While kicking the man's pistol away, he snatched another man's gun and then fired several shots at an inhuman speed. The gang of criminals fell down 3 or 4 times before they could even react to what happened. At the critical moment, Qin Yan slammed the door of another carriage. The people surrounding the old man had surrounded him in layers as soon as Qin Yan opened his mouth. The criminals couldn't find a chance to attack. Panic made them shoot randomly everywhere, not knowing whether to shoot the old man or the person who helped. However, after this random shooting, the old man was not only fine but was also surrounded and retreated to the carriage just now. And the criminals fell down one after another. They have helpers. Retreat. Seeing that the situation was not good, Someone shouted in exasperation. The remaining 2 or 3 who had not fallen quickly ran towards the door. But how could Qin Yan, who had been hiding behind a chair after shooting, let them run away like this? There were a few more bangs, 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 and all the gangsters were knocked down. It took only 1 minute from the gangsters' attack to the time they all fell down. Li Tisho, who sent the old man back to the carriage and turned back to help, looked at the gangsters lying on the ground, and his scalp was numb instantly. And the only person who was still standing didn't know whether he was an enemy or a friend. If another group came to assassinate the leader, he didn't dare to think about it. He swallowed his saliva, and his forehead was already wet with sweat. And at this moment, the tall man spoke. "Hello, comrade. I am a soldier of the 31st Regiment of the 12th Division of Wen City. My name is Qin Yan." Hearing that it was his own people, Li Tisho's heart was slightly relieved, but he did not completely let down his guard. Instead, he exchanged a few more secret codes, and seeing that he answered them all, he excitedly ran up and patted him on the shoulder. "Good boy. Your skills are really amazing." A group of 8 or 9 gangsters were dead or injured, and the carriage was filled with a strong smell of blood. Qin Yan confiscated all the pistols and simply bandaged those who were relatively lightly injured. Sparing his life was naturally for interrogation, so as to find the mastermind behind the scenes. After he bandaged and the man, Li Tisho also helped the old man out. "You said it was this young comrade who saved me just now?" Yu Chuanbai saw the agile young man, who had been used to the ups and downs, and his face was full of shock at this moment. Who on earth is this god who can fight 8 or 9 people with guns with his bare hands? "Yes, Chief, it's him. His name is Qin Yan, and he is from the Wunsher military region." Li Tisho had been shocked, but now he was much calmer. After all, they had seen many gods during the War of Resistance against Japan and the war to aid Korea. It is normal for a country as big as this to have some people with extraordinary abilities. When Qin Yan heard that Yu Chuanbai came out, he hurried forward and saluted. "Hello, Chief." Seeing the famous general during the anti-Japanese war, the usually calm man was full of excitement. Good. Little comrade, you're very good." Yu Chuanbai also patted his shoulder and was even more satisfied when he found that he was very strong. This is a good seedling. But unfortunately, he had to rush back to Beijing and couldn't stay for long. "Chief, I think we should let this little comrade go back to Beijing with us." With him, Li Tisho felt that the chief's safety would be more guaranteed. And he just checked his ID, and there was no problem with the identification. Yu Chuanbai was also a little tempted, but he still asked Qin Yan's opinion. "Little comrade, do you think it's convenient?" The chief needed help, and Qin Yan was naturally obliged. The only thing he was worried about was Lin Wanshu. It was agreed that he would go back in 2 or 3 days, and now he had to delay for so long, and he was afraid that she would worry. But the chief's whereabouts were obviously confidential, and he had no way to notify her. However, Qin Yan did not say this, but saluted Yu Chuanbai. "Anytime you are ready to be deployed." Just like that, Qin Yan, who was originally going to the next city, went north to Beijing with Yu Chuanbai. Lin Wanshu, who stayed in the family compound, waited for a few days and found that the man had not come back, so she couldn't help but worry. They all agreed to make a warm house meal on Sunday, and she also told several military wives. In the end, he didn't come back? And where did he go? Is there any danger? Lin Wanshu's mind was in a mess all day, and she couldn't calm down at all. "Don't worry, he may have a temporary mission. I'm used to them disappearing suddenly and appearing suddenly." Ji Hualan comforted her when she saw her anxiety. Lin Wanshu forced a smile, but her heart was not relieved at all. "Hualan, don't persuade her. It's useless to persuade her. She will adapt after living here for a few more years." Wang Chunling on the side joked. "Don't think that you can see the man at home every day if you live in the family compound. They know better than anyone how busy soldiers are." "Oh, Wanwan, your man is so powerful. He can beat several people at once. What are you afraid of?" "You should be afraid of people who cause trouble for him, right?" Yu Fongfong couldn't bear to see her frowning, so she joked with her trying to cheer her up. Hearing this, Lin Wanshu also remembered his amazing divine power, extraordinary skills, and 5 senses, and the worry in her heart was slightly relieved. But he didn't come back, so the warm house meal had to be postponed. After all, she was a woman and couldn't greet his comrades. Suppressing her worries, she put the dried twisters she picked from the mountains into a jar. Wang, are these twisters really delicious when soaked in wine? Yu Fongfong picked one up and put it in her mouth to chew. She felt that the taste was average, not sour enough or sweet enough, and not as tasty as salted fruit. It should be delicious, right? Lin Wanshu said uncertainly. After all, she had never drunk it before. She had only seen it in a book. There happened to be a lot of these fruits here. She had nothing to do, so she tried to soak them. In addition to the twist, she also added a few medicinal herbs. This stuff can promote blood circulation, relieve inflammation and pain, enhance immunity and other effects when soaked in wine. Hearing her say this, everyone else was eager to try. Wanshu, is this stuff really that powerful? Then you have to teach me. My man always has pains here and there. I'll try soaking it for him. After being a soldier for a long time, there will be more or less some problems on the body. The military wives are very tempted to make their men feel better. Lin Wanshu still did not hide her secrets.